Chase with hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
And a good Tuesday morning to you, and welcome into Darren, Donick, and Chase here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. 4 hours of a lot of stuff to get to, and we're excited about it. Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, Chase McCabe, Elijah Campbell hanging out the Hillside Medical Game Studio. About 15 minutes, we'll talk with Jim Wyatt. We'll talk about the Titans. Last night, a couple of games. Browns fall on a last-second field goal, 16-14 to the Raiders. And then the nightcap, the Vikings going to Chicago and beat the hopeless Bears 17-9. I think what's interesting is, one, the games weren't that interesting, so I don't even know if you guys paid that close attention to them. But did anybody notice, and maybe I've been watching the Manning cast too much, and so guilty as charged if that's the answer. Is it me, or did the booth, did they like form some pretty strong opinions that you don't typically see? Louis Riddick was like all over the Bears head coach Matt Nagy and the general manager, like basically calling for their heads. And I just don't remember, especially that crew, operating like that. Louis Riddick, they're not. And so I was wondering, do you think the Manning cast maybe forces them because they've seen the numbers, maybe to be more outspoken, to get more attention? I don't know. Maybe they've been doing it all year. Like I said, I'm guilty as charged. I watched the Manning cast. It wasn't available last night, so I was surprised like how strong Louis Riddick, who's in the booth, during the game and basically saying the Bears need to clean house.
Well, it doesn't. So one, I noticed that too. I don't think it's the Manning cast. I think it's because Louis Riddick wants a GM job.
Yeah, but is that the way to? Okay. I don't doubt. But is that the? Usually, you're very neutral if you're kind of lobbying. Like John Gruden, when he was in the booth, loved everybody. Right? Everybody was great. It was at times it was boring. Like everybody was great. It's like, John, everybody's not great. Not everybody's doing a great job. But, maybe that, and I don't know if that's just how he operates or if he was always lobbying for something. I just kind of feel like you're not going to say anything to make anybody mad. But I guess really the only thing that matters is the guy at the very, very top. And, you're not talking about the owner.
Yeah, well,
you're talking about everybody below him.
I think Louis Riddick has always been outspoken too. So I don't really. Now Greasy's the one that I've noticed have a little bit more of that than maybe I've noticed before. But again, he's done college football. He and Steve Levy together a long time doing that, and so I obviously would watch those games, but I never really noticed it, as much until now. So he's had a little bit more of an opinion than I've heard in the past. But Louis Riddick, I think that's why he's where he's at, because he's outspoken. He has a strong opinion, and again, I do think there's something too that he wants a GM job.
I really enjoy Louis Riddick's analysis of the game. I think it's very, very good. I've always thought that. I don't know about the ulterior motive about the GM job. I will say, though, that I think if you look at the tradition of Monday Night Football, I think they've always had a search ever since the days of Howard Cosell, really.
Outspoken?
For
little
that.
edgy?
Well, no, just something, a little provocative. Something that's outside of a normal broadcast in a perfect world. And they certainly haven't always found it. If you look at all the teams that have done Monday Night Football, there's been varying degrees of that. You had John Madden for a long time. You had, you had Dan Dierdorf for a while. There were two completely different kind of broadcasts. Remember, they brought in Dennis Miller and Tony Kornheiser for that to try it. That was, had a varying amount of success. But I think you're under the microscope. You're under the microscope when you do Monday Night Football, even though it's not what it once was.
Joe
you just
Theismann, outspoken.
Yeah, and Theismann
in
was
his
only
own
there
way.
for like
in his
a
own
year.
way. Yeah, not in his own way. Right.
I don't think he strived to be controversial. I think, Howard Cosell was looking for controversy. I don't think these guys are doing that. But I do think they've been sort of told, hey, listen, give your opinion. Don't hold back. And for the example you brought up, Darren, the Bears, I think I love the visual thing they did. They had the weighted backpacks, and they kind of showed the mountain to climb. You have no first-round picks until 2023, and they haven't even really begun to pay the fiddler, and they're not a very good football team. I thought that was a really good thing to point out, and they did it in a way that I didn't think was bashing, but it was a strong opinion that was laid out, that they made some decisions that backfired.
Well,
and they got to pay the piper for it.
I'll say this. I told Ryan that his job early on in his tenure in Chicago is going to be very easy because his shows are going to have a lot to talk about with finding a GM and a head coach. I don't think Matt Nagy is a great head coach. He's shown with some of the play calling that maybe he's not a great offensive coordinator either. It was another one of those Andy Reid made him look good. But Ryan Pace is an awful general manager. I mean, the moves that he has made has set that franchise back, and he's been allowed to do it. So they're both going to get fired. That's going to be, one of those situations where you hope that ownership or whoever is calling the shots is going to tell them, hey, this is what we need to do. This is how you do it right, and go through a rebuild and build around Fields. But Pace has put them in this position. It's, Matt Nagy deserves some blame, obviously, but he inherited Trubisky. That wasn't his guy. He's had 1 year with Fields, so I'm curious to see what they do. But I think they both get fired.
What do you guys think? And I know it's very early. Okay, I get it. It's very early and it's a small sample size. What do you think of Justin Fields right now?
I think he's got some accuracy issues.
He's got a long ways to go.
Yeah, but
he's got a long ways to go.
And he doesn't have much around him. I don't think he's got a great supporting staff, but that's usually the case when you're a first round.
When you get drafted on a crappy
and you get
team.
thrown in there. So
sure.
I think it's like most of the first year quarterbacks this year. They're swimming, right? They can flash talent, but right now they don't really have the supporting cast around them to be successful other than Mac Jones.
Let me pose it to you like this. If you're a player,
by the way, they let Mac Jones loose on Saturday and he threw 2 picks. That's why they hold him back.
Right, and they've done a good job with that up until that point. But when you're those three, let's use Trevor Lawrence, let's use Fields, Mac Jones, and you come from programs where all you do is win. You don't have to try. Like you are powerhouses, and all you do is win.
Well, and let me say this, Chase, to your
because
point.
You have the better team.
I was going to say that's
you have better talent.
I was going to say in most games though, Chase. Here's the deal: you out athlete the other team. Like you're not out scheming them. You're just out athleting them.
That's where
you're running down the field
Zach
faster.
Wilson.
Right, and you're 15 yards past the defenders, and you're throwing to wide open
guys.
Correct.
That's where I'm going with it. They don't. So they don't know. Like they don't know what it is like to out scheme, these teams. They don't know what the psychological part that you have to do to win these games in the NFL. And so they are a rookie in every sense in that they get to the league, and it's like this whole you've gone from being the big man on campus where you don't necessarily have to try. You have all the best resources around you, and now you don't. You go to Jacksonville or you go to Chicago. New England is a little bit different, and they've done it right. Like Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, I think, have protected him and made it safer for him. And so you have to learn how to fail before you can succeed in the NFL. And I mean, there are many, many examples of it. We go back to with Trevor Lawrence, Peyton Manning, his first year, he threw 28 interceptions. And then finally it started to all click as after that first year. The hope is that that's going to happen. I think you look at Joe Burrow in his second year, it's obviously better. Of course, he's healthy. He didn't get hurt. But you
what
can
else
tell
does he
that
have?
he has weapons and the game slowed down.
But you
for
could
him.
see it last year, though. Like you could see that there was something there immediately. When he played, They were fantastic, and they were scoring at will. It was like you already could see something before he went down for the season. I mean, there was already something
but I
there.
think you can see, even though it's been a struggle.
No, I can't. I don't.
You don't see anything?
I see that he's a long ways away. That's what I see.
Fields?
Yep. I see a guy that's not even close to being Joe Burrow's level
I
right
think
now.
the touch. I think the touch on the tough throws you have to make. That's what I would be concerned with the Bears. When he does have an opportunity to make a tough throw, I see line drives that are a little too high, not much touch. I do think that's an issue. I think he's going to have some success, but it's hard when you have no first round picks coming up. What is your plan to build around him? They have nothing right now. They don't have a go-to receiver for him to throw to. They don't have a strong running game, really. It's going to make it tough for him in his development.
I'm just going to caution you, Chase, because you use this example a lot. You throw the Peyton Manning 28 interception example in there a lot. It's not like he threw 5 touchdowns and 28 interceptions. I mean, he threw almost the same amount of touchdowns as interceptions, and I think he threw for like close to 4,000 yards that season. It's not like people were going, yeah, I don't know about this Peyton guy. I'm not sure if this is going to work out. It's like, yeah, you got to cut down the mistakes, but everybody could see that he was well on his way. I mean,
Sure.
These guys – you throw out you just leave it at one stat. It's like 28 interceptions. Okay, yeah, that's horrific. But they also back then, think about it, that's 98.
I'm just using his example.
Like today's game, this is 23 years later. Like who doesn't throw for 4,000 yards? Like everybody does. But this is 23 years ago. He almost threw for 4,000 yards and he had 26 touchdowns. So I'm just saying, it's not like, because I remember his rookie year quite well. And it's not like everybody was going, I don't know, man. Maybe Ryan Leaf maybe they goofed up. It's not like anybody was doing it. It was like, okay, he's got to figure out this mistake thing. But don't forget, there were guys like Brett Favre in the league and others that threw it to the other team a lot too.
Sure.
That were Hall of Famers. So I hesitate. I'm just telling you, you use that example a lot, and you're kind of like painting a picture of like everybody was going, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if Peyton Manning is going to be good enough. Those conversations were not being had. It was like, dude, you got to stop throwing to the other team. You got to clean that part of it up. You're a rookie, so we'll let you slide. And then he did. It got better and better. He still, think about it. In his career, Peyton still threw a lot of picks. It's not like they went away, right?
Well, especially with the way offenses are now too. I mean, they're more aggressive. And
he was a double-digit pick guy basically his entire career. It's not like Peyton was going out there and throwing 29 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, basically like Aaron Rodgers has done in these last 2 years of I'm number one to Green Bay's front office season, right? Where you go out and you throw 40 and 5. What's he have this year? Like 28 and 3? I mean, his numbers are ridiculous. Like, that's not normal.
Peyton,
which is why I think he's going to win the MVP.
To your point, he threw single-digit interceptions one time in his career.
Yeah.
2006.
I would have said he didn't. If you would have asked me, did he ever do it, I would have said, nah.
Now, he
probably never threw single digits.
He had 3 straight years of 10. He had an 11, a 10. I mean, he was hovering right around 10 a lot. But, yeah, 9. He threw 9 in 2006.
I'm just saying I don't see that from – like Joe Burrow, I saw it. Like last year, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think
he's going to be okay.
Fields is probably the lesser of the 3. I still think if Lawrence is developed right, like Urban didn't give a crap. Like Urban just that whole thing was such a bad experiment that I think if you get the right coach or coordinator in there to actually develop him, I think Lawrence is going to be fine. Now,
but also what happened to Lawrence? His number 1 wide receiver went down before at the beginning of the season. The running back, they have a pretty good running back. The other one that they drafted, they used another one. Well, he's gone. They still had another one, but then he got hurt. He has nobody to throw to. He has no structure around him to be successful.
Yeah, and I mean
that makes it hard.
Marvin Jones is a pretty good receiver, man. Marvin Jones is a proven guy.
Burrow had what? T. Higgins.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, Marvin Jones is a yes, really. Yeah, he's a good receiver.
He's got one. Okay, so he's got one pretty good receiver. That's pretty hard.
He's a really good receiver. Marvin Jones is a really good receiver.
James Robinson is a really good running back, but he's hurt. Marvin Jones by himself with nobody else around him, with no
Of
G.J.
course.
Chark.
No doubt. It's no chance. Yeah, you're
You
right.
got no chance to succeed.
You got no chance. So, but I will say this: like right now, this rookie class of quarterbacks. I mean, Mac Jones is on the better team, but I mean,
how
right
would you
now,
rank him?
how do you rank? Like, how do you
He's
rank
limited.
them? Let's say 3 years from now. Who do you think is going to be number one? Who's going to be the best of this group 3 years from now?
I want to say Trevor Lawrence, but I just don't trust the team he's on. That's the problem.
I know.
I don't trust the organization or the team that he's on. So
is Mac Jones gonna get? Is the leash going to get a little bit longer every year? Is this what he is? I don't know. Is Justin Fields improved? Does Zach Wilson improve? Trey Lance, when he eventually gets the reins, what does he look like? I have no idea. Like right now, nothing really jumps out at what the right answer is, right? Because the Trevor Lawrence thing is it's a crappy organization, and you wonder is he going to get David Card, playing for a crappy team, and he's going to get beat up
David Carr.
early. Well, I mean, those guys got just hammered, and they don't ever recover. I don't think that's going to be the case. You guys know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence and have felt. I felt like he has been a can't-miss guy, but I don't know. I mean, it's Jacksonville, so I think all bets are always off. I'd probably still lean toward 3 years from now we're saying Trevor Lawrence is the best.
I'd probably go Trevor, then Mac. And then who knows?
And then you got the whole unknown. Like we have no clue what is Trey Lance. Idea.
If Kyle Shanahan's allowed to develop him, I think
there's a chance
he'd be pretty good.
Yep. So pretty interesting stuff. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk with Jim Wyatt. We'll talk about this Titans team that is getting ready to suit up in a couple of days and host the 49ers. We'll do that next here on Darren Donick and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Quarterback sneak, and that's a Tennessee touchdown.
It's a quick turnaround for the Titans as they look to get back in their winning ways Thursday night against the 49ers.
There's guys out there competing, working, and fighting for each other.
We'll get you set up all week.
You've got to be able to throw the ball down the field to keep a defense honest.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
The devastating storms across the region have created a monumental need for blood to care for the victims of this tragedy. Now more than ever, find it in your heart to donate blood and help save lives. Blood Assurance is the area's local community blood centers, and they have locations throughout Middle Tennessee, including Clarksville, Cool Springs, and Hermitage. You can go to bloodassurance.org/schedule for information. Give blood, give local, save lives.
Joyland is a fun new concept by Chef Sean Brock, designed to spread joy. Joyland is the new fast food, inspired by Chef Brock's love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. The burger melts in your mouth, the fries are crispy goodness, and the milkshakes are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Gosh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Joyland is now open in East Nashville, serving handhelds, grab-and-go items, milkshakes, and more in their modern and vibrant space. Find some joy today and eat Joyland.
Tune in to Stillman and Company every Friday at 5 o'clock.
I am glad to be on this show.
To hear from Nashville sports media personality Chad Withrow of Outkick 360.
He's 6'4", he's 260 pounds, he runs 21 miles per hour.
Brought to you by Apple Collision Centers.
This could be the best game of the weekend between these two teams.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company Fridays at 5.
Happy to join you guys every Friday.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
On Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull a mask off an old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim.
Thank you, Coach Stock. We had him on yesterday at 1 o'clock to talk about their win down in the Bahamas to kick off the bowl season. Back here on Darren, Donick, and Chase. Our show is presented by Creation CBD products curated for life. By the way, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube every day. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Let's say hello and good morning to Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah. Anything new and exciting in your world?
Getting ready for a Tuesday practice, which is not common, and a Thursday game during Christmas week, which makes shopping tough. So there's nothing new as far as shopping in my world. There's no time for that. I hope my wife is understanding this year.
So you're not done, is what you're saying, because that's where I was going with this. You're not done?
Yeah, may not get done. Yeah.
Oh, you may not get done. Oh, we've got a development.
Yeah.
Amazon.com, Jim. It's your friend.
Does she know this, that she may get stiff this year because of the Titan schedule?
Luckily, my daughter's back in town, so she can do some stuff for me. But yeah, had a bad year.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball before we get into this Titans team. I just want to get your take on league-wide what you see. And I know you're more Titan-centric, but I know you watch other games and you pay attention to what's going on around the league. Kevin Byard was very outspoken about the officials on Sunday. You had last night the Bears and the Vikings. If you listen to the Bears players, Robert Quinn in particular, it was a very chippy game. He was not very complimentary of the officiating crew at all. I've said this on the show for all the times that, Titans fans get mad at the officials, and I said, I can agree or disagree with you on how you feel about calls that were good calls or bad calls, but I'm just telling you, it's not just the Titans. If you watch the league, it happens every week, almost every game. Every game you watch is like, well, that's a bad call. That's a bad call. How bad of a problem, or is it league-wide, the officials, in your opinion?
Yeah, I do think it's a problem. I mean, it's funny. I look at, one of the first things I see each week is who's going to be the referee for the game, and what crews got it, and what crews are known for as far as what they call and what they don't call, and how they handle the management of the game. Some obviously do it better than others, but, across the league, and you're right, it's not just Titans games, but across the league you always have issues that crop up, and you hate it because it's costing teams momentum, it's costing teams points, it's costing teams games. And I thought some of those calls, I thought the Jeffrey Simmons call when he went low and hit Roethlisberger, I thought that was a legitimate call. I think that's
me too.
You should know.
I had no issues with it. Yep.
Yeah.
None.
So I think that was a right call. But then there were some other ones, like the pass interference call down the sideline. I thought it was pretty weak. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there were a couple others like that. But the Titans have been the beneficiary of some of those as well. I mean, there was a play against the Saints a couple of weeks ago where the Saints were called for roughing on Tannehill that I thought was a cheap call, and that ended up being an interception that was wiped out, and the Titans scored a touchdown, and that might have cost the Saints the game. So, I just think across the league,
that spot was very generous, by the way.
Yeah.
Very generous.
Yeah, it was generous, and I think that it would have been corrected. Like, if let's say those chains go out and that's a first down, I think they'd look at it again and move it back because it was such a bad spot. But it's just consistently, you just see issues like that crop up, and it's been going on for years, and I don't know how you fix it necessarily, because I do think these guys are doing the best they can in a lot of situations, but sometimes that's obviously not good enough.
Yeah. That was going to be my follow-up. So you don't. Is there anything you can do, or is this just part of it, and it's always been this way, and you just have to deal with it?
Yeah, I think certainly, the people that are hiring these people that could hold them accountable more and And there are consequences when you make bad calls or consistently make bad calls. I mean, you've got to remember that they're human, and you're going to have some mistakes that are made. But I do think there has been progress in some ways. I mean, the fact that they're correcting some of these calls in New York before it gets to a point where the coaches are having to challenge, I think that's progress. I mean, you're seeing New York weigh in on some of these things now, and that speeds up the game, and it does, it ensures you're going to get the right call more often. But then there are situations. There was a Titans game a couple of weeks ago where Vrabel had a challenge of call that was, at the goal line. I think when Nick Westbrook-Akina, I thought clearly caught a short slant on maybe a 1-yard touchdown and got in without being touched. But that's a scoring play that should have been immediately reviewed. They marked him short, and then Vrabel ends up having to throw a challenge flag to get that ruled a touchdown. So, I mean, you're continuing to see things like that happen. And so while there's progress in some areas, certainly there's some issues in others.
First look at Zach Cunningham in a Titans uniform on Sunday. One, how did you think he did? And is this a guy that can help them for this stretch run?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I think he's the perfect guy for the defense. I mean, he's fast, he's physical, he's very athletic. I was really impressed him coming in on a short week, the way he was able to step in there and he finishes tackles. He runs sideline to sideline. Look at this team's linebacking core now. All of a sudden, they've got some really good depth there. with Cunningham and Rashaan Evans, and need to get David Long back, but with Jayon Brown in there, I mean, it's a pretty good group. But I have to say, I think Cunningham may be the best of the bunch, and I think he's just going to continue to get better the more he plays in this defense. I love the energy that he plays with. I always liked him as a player at Vanderbilt, and watching him at the Texans, I always thought he was the best player on that defense. Most times when the Titans played, and most times when I watched the Texans, and I think that really was a fortunate get for the Titans, not only for this year, but hopefully for years to come.
What about? By the way, David Long, what's he dealing with, a hamstring? Like, how long has he been out?
He's been out a long stretch, and he is dealing with a hamstring. And
golly.
And there was a time where it looked like he might be on the verge of coming back, and then had to pump the brakes on that a little bit. And now they're just trying to get him up to speed. But he wasn't. They didn't have a full scale practice yesterday, and I don't know that they'll really have a full scale practice this week. I mean, most of it's going to be walk-through stuff, and but on the estimated practice report yesterday, he did not practice. And some encouraging news there is that Jackrabbit Jenkins was back, Saffold was back, Tier Tart was back. Those are three guys that missed this past week, so that's a positive sign. But of course, no Julio, no Long, no Murchison yesterday.
Why do you think this offensive line has had so many struggles against the pass? I mean, they've been so dominant in run blocking, but pass blocking has been a real struggle all year. Why is that, you think?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that because if I could, I'd probably be coaching offensive linemen somewhere. I mean, part of it is they have had some injuries there, and they've had guys out. I mean, right out of the gate, it reared its ugly head is that they had a shot downfield called to go to Julio Jones, who was breaking free, and then Aaron Brewer, who's in there for Roger Saffold, got beat right off the snap, and Tannehill gets sacked, and that play gets blown up. That wasn't the only time Tannehill got hit. I mean, he got sacked 4 times. He's been sacked 41 times this year. He's getting hit way too much. It's lucky that he's still playing and not nursing an injury himself. But, part of it's been they've had guys out, had to sub guys in. They haven't been able to develop some consistency and been able to gel like you would like. And part of it is they just, have not been good enough, with their technique or communication on passing guys off. I mean, the run game has been good. I mean, this is 2 of the last 3 weeks they've gone for over 200 yards rushing without Henry in the backfield. But I think they would all tell you that the pass protection has to be better, because it's, not only is it getting your quarterback sacked, but it's limiting some of the plays that you can execute and what you can call, and and it's gonna have to be better here down the stretch if his team's gonna contend. And right now it just it doesn't look great. And then you've got a team coming in here in the 49ers that's physical up front. They got a guy in Bosa who's got 15 sacks, I think, already. I mean, it's you better get it fixed on a short week.
Jim Wyatt is with us. So, Jim, along those lines, do you expect Bosa to play? I guess that's always a tricky one, especially on a short week.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I have not heard otherwise. And you just say Bosa, didn't you?
Yeah, doesn't he have a concussion?
Yeah, I mean, he's not listed on their injury report. I'm looking at it now. I mean, so he's, as far as I know, he's good.
I think you're thinking of Joey.
Yeah, you're thinking brother.
Oh, I got the wrong Bosa.
You got the wrong Bosa.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I think he's good. Yeah, now they've got some guys on their injury report as well that didn't go, but for the most part, they look pretty healthy coming in here, and he's going to be a pain to try to deal with.
So you're saying that the Titans don't have to worry about blocking Joey Bosa?
Nope.
This week.
That's correct.
Either way.
Not this week. Now,
okay.
If the playoffs
Nick is another story.
Today, if the playoffs ended today, I think those two teams would be matched up. The three, I think, would get the Chargers, and that's who you would see. But Titans obviously need to keep. They need to get on track. I mean, there's no question about it. The Colts are playing a lot better. Titans, a couple of weeks ago, you looked at the schedule down the stretch and you thought it looked favorable, and now you've given one back against the Steelers, and the 49ers have won 5 of 6. They're playing well. The Dolphins are playing well. So, I mean, things are starting to get serious here, and you better get some stuff fixed.
Jim, let's talk about the two spearheads, I think, of the 49ers, the guys that have really given them a big lift. One is George Kittle, who we knew how great he was, but he's had the last 2 years he's had some pretty significant injuries, but he looks like he's on his game now. And then this Deebo Samuel has really come on as a real interesting guy, the way they use him. And between those two guys, that to me would have to be where you look as the Titans defense. So how do you try to curtail these guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a challenge. I mean, Kittle's, closing on 1,000 receiving yards. He's, I think, at 850. He leads the team with 63 catches. He's, he knows how to get open. He reminds a little bit of Travis Kelce, the way he can break tackles. He leads them in touchdowns. And then Samuel is he's over 1,000 yards already and averaging 17 yards a catch. I mean, those are two tough playmakers that they have. And I think the good news is that the Titans are playing well on defense. It's crazy just how much things have changed in the last year. Now you're counting on the defense to help keep you in games, which is a flip from last year when the defense was struggling a lot of Sundays and you're counting on the offense. So I think the Titans can match up with the 49ers defensively. It's just a matter of whether or not they can generate enough offense, and and how, if A.J. Brown's able to play, I think that certainly helps that side of the football. But this is definitely a 49ers team that has gotten on a roll of late, and they're scoring points. They put up 31 against Atlanta. They win at Cincy, which is a crazy game. I watched that in the press box at Nissan as it came down to the end, and they pull out that game on the road. They put up 30 in 3 straight games against the Rams, Jaguars, and Vikings, kind of to start the streak. So I mean, they're potent on offense, but I do think this Titans defense is capable of matching up and keeping this game, in a position where the offense can do enough to win it.
We're talking to Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. And Speaking of A.J. Brown, I mean, we've been talking about it. The offense needs a weapon. They're running the ball. Deontay Foreman especially has done a tremendous job in the absence of Derrick Henry. But Ryan Tannehill needs a go-to weapon. So how effective, if he does play, do you think A.J. can be?
Well, I think he can be effective. I mean, it's the way this return designated for return works is you put a guy on it and you try to get him in a position where he kind of gets his conditioning back and kind of gets in the flow of things and gets in rhythm with the quarterback. And sometimes those, you can spend a couple of weeks on there and you bring a guy back. Now he went on there yesterday and there's a game in 3 days. So, you don't get a lot of that. The good news is he's not coming back from like a hamstring or from a lower body injury that you sometimes need more time with. I mean, he suffered, it was called a chest injury when he got hit against the Texans. I know he has been working over the last several weeks, even though he hadn't been practicing. He's kind of been working to try to get himself in a position where he could return. And now we've got pretty much a walk-through practice today just to try to get him up to speed. So is it enough time to get him able to play on Thursday? I mean, I guess I'll be curious to see myself when we practice here in a couple of hours, just if he's in the mix, how much he's doing. There's no question they need him. I mean, I looked out there on Sunday and, and trying to understand why this offense was struggling. I mean, the turnovers are the big part of it, but another part of it is it just kind of seemed to lack explosive playmakers right now. I mean, I think Westbrook-Akina, couldn't haul in a deep ball that I think he probably should have run through and caught. Racing McMath, who lost the ball, just hadn't been playing a whole lot. Chester Rogers, certainly has had his moments, but this team needs a big, explosive playmaker, and A.J. Brown's that guy. And if he is back in there, and I think there's certainly a chance, even though it's a short week, I don't think you still. I think everybody knows that we're getting serious here. Titans need to win some games. They need to get him back out on the field. So I think there's a chance he plays, and I think he is the type of guy that could step in and be really good. I mean, I don't think he needs a build-up period or they'll have to ease him in. I think if he's playing, and I think he would certainly help.
I know they have a lot of business to take care of between now and the offseason, but I can't help but think about Julio Jones and A.J. Brown moving forward, because Julio, we've just seen it hasn't worked because he hadn't been healthy. He can't shake this hamstring thing, and it was something that he had in Atlanta as well. There's money and years left on the deal there. So how do you think John Robinson is looking at that? And also with A.J. Brown, and he's obviously battled some injury this year. He's had some drops. And with the whole financial situation, that's something he's got to look at moving forward. So how important are these last few games in trying to address the future at wide receiver?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chase. I mean, I don't know how John's maybe looking at it. I'm sure he's thinking, hey, I need to get these guys out there, and they need to get us in a position where we're clinching a playoff spot, trying to get the number one seed and trying to win a trophy this year. I'm sure he's not thinking about, what's going to happen this off season. But I've certainly, get that that's a part of it as you move forward. I mean, with Julio, the Julio thing's just been frustrating, I think, probably for everybody. You bring him in here, you want him to make a big difference. He just can't ever get right with the hammy, and you sit him down for several weeks, hoping that's going to do the trick. And here we are again, looking at the injury report where he didn't practice. And I'm sure he's frustrated by the whole thing. But, what happens next year, I don't know. I kind of have an idea what his contract looks like and what you may or may not be able to do there. That's just an off-season question that will have to be addressed once this year is over. I mean, AJ, I think he, and this is just me, and I don't know what John is thinking as far as contracts and long-term goes, but AJ is the kind of guy you want to have around here long-term, just because, he's a guy you drafted. He's a guy that's continuing to get better. He's a great kid, hard-working guy. Teammates love him. He's competitive. I mean, he's one of the most genuine guys that I have been around since I've covered the team, and I think he's a really good player. Now, yes, he has had to deal with some injuries, and that's, when you start thinking about extending guys and giving long-term deals, that becomes a part of it. But, if he can stay healthy and just continue to develop, I still think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the game. But he has hit some speed bumps this year, some things that have slowed him down, and that complicates things when you start talking about long-term deals and how much money you want to give a guy.
What's your concern level with Foreman and the ankle going on the short week? Because he's looked really good.
Yeah, I think he's good. I mean, because he came back and battled back from that, and just after the game, I think if he would have been in a serious position, is a serious injury, I don't think he would have come to the podium and talked. I think he would have been getting treatment. So he is on the injury report with an ankle. He was listed as as limited as far as an estimated injury report yesterday. But I think he'll play. I mean, I think he'll be good to go, and we'll be shocked if he's not playing on Thursday night.
Last thing, Jim, why do you think the Josh Reynolds experiment didn't work here?
Yeah, I hate that it didn't, because I continue to kind of keep an eye on him from afar, and he's helped the Lions, and I think timing was bad. I mean, he got here, and he was dealing with something. He was trying to recover from something when he got here, and then he hurt his Achilles, was kind of bothering him early in camp, and so he just never really did get the reps that he needed. And then some other guys just passed him. I mean, Marcus Johnson was great, and was probably the team's best receiver in camp. So I think at the time when the decision was made to let Josh Reynolds go, it was at a time when things looked like they were trending in the right direction for not only Julio, or at least you're keeping your fingers crossed here, but things were definitely trending in the right direction for Marcus Johnson, because he was kind of just coming back from his hamstring and looked like he was going to be good. AJ, this is before he had the chest injury. Things were looking good there. I just think from a numbers standpoint, Josh Reynolds kind of was the odd man out. But, if you'd have known then what you know now, that Julio hammy hadn't gone away, you were going to be without AJ for several weeks because of the chest. Marcus Johnson now in IR, he can't come back. I think you probably would like to have Josh Reynolds right now. But, from a health standpoint, from a numbers standpoint, it didn't work out. And that's just one of those unfortunate deals, because I do think he probably would be in a position where he could help right now.
Well, we do thank you for not going to Hawaii with Vanderbilt to do this hit with us, so we really appreciate it. And, of course, to have your daughter shop for you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thanks for doing this, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, I appreciate it. You guys have a good week, and Merry Christmas to all you guys. Happy holidays.
Same to you, Jim. Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com is where you can find his work. Always good to catch up with him. And, of course, the Titans will be taking on the 49ers at Nissan Stadium Thursday evening. I'm actually going to do a first on Thursday.
You going?
It's going to be the first time ever. I'll tell you what I'm talking about on the other side.
Oh, that's a tease.
As you listen to Darren, Donick, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Breaking news. The Nashville Predators have had their next 3 games postponed due to COVID and will be shut down at least through the end of the NHL's holiday break on December 26th. Keep it locked here for the latest from Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. A little bit warmer for us this morning. Temperatures in the 30s on our way to highs in the upper 40s and lower 50s under mostly cloudy skies with a couple isolated sprinkles possible.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Turn every Tuesday into payday with TNT Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe Rexford here letting you know it doesn't matter if you win or lose. FanDuel's giving all customers $10 back every Tuesday. Just bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. Same-game parlays, of course, let you combine the money line, point spread, player props, and more all into one wager. Little Pacers Heat. Interesting game. Heat missing a ton of people. One tip I might give you is over on some Kyle Lowry props with other people banged up. But do whatever you like. Just do it on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You're guaranteed to get $10 added to your account. And when you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours on FanDuel. It's easy to use. It's safe and secure. Get $10 back every Tuesday. Win or lose with TNT Tuesdays. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code Joe102. Get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Make every moment more this NBA season. That's promo code Joe102 exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is now a drawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Happy holiday from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff's safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Merry Christmas from the Parman family to yours.
Hi guys, are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, but we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction today and get your love life back just in time for the holidays. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Donick, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Yeah, it is going to feel like the first time, because it will be. By the way, if you're looking for a place to hang before the game on Thursday, whether you're going to the game at Nissan Stadium or you're just going to hang out and watch with Titans fans, how about Boombah's Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville? Yeah, this Thursday from 5 until 7 p.m. Our pregame show will be there. Jarrett Stillman, Mark Howard, forever Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Boombah's Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville is located at 1003 Russell Street. So, like I said, if you're going to the game, great place to hang. If you're not going to the game, great place to hang. Our pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. The first time is I'll take my son to the game, and I'm going to sit in the stands. It's the first time ever I've sat in the stands for a Titans game.
Ever?
Ever.
Really?
I have never sat in the stands for a Titans game. I've only been in the press box or on the field.
Wow.
I've never been in the stands.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Just you and Maddox, or is Mom going too?
No, it's December and it's a night game, and
she said no. She's like, no, I'm good.
Well, it's just cold and
right.
She's got Raynaud, so yeah, not good. Not a good combo.
Okay.
So yeah, just the two of us in the stands. First
That'll be
time.
fun.
I've never sat in the stand. In fact, I was trying to think. I'm trying to think what other things. I think maybe a couple Music City Bowls. I've maybe wandered around and sat in the stands. I think for sure. I don't think. I know. Didn't Vanderbilt and Ole Miss play a football game at Nissan Stadium? I did sit in the stands for that one.
That was a few years
Try
ago.
to forget that one.
With Lauren and Maddox, and that was, if you remember, Willie, that sparked a huge thing on our shows the following week about the disaster that was trying to get in that place.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
It was a disaster
on the field as well.
Well, it was a disaster on the field, too. Yeah,
Was that that was Mason's first year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a
I
really
think that's
bad
right.
team.
Yeah, I think that's right.
We went to Guns N' Roses there.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was about sporting events. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Guns, GNR, yep. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to I've done Monster Jam there, sitting in the stands. I mean, I've done other things sitting in the stands, but for a Titans game, this will be a first. I went to every game for 17 seasons and never sat in the stands.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Also impressive, John the mailman said it only took Darren 42 minutes to mention Josh Reynolds today.
I thought that was pretty good.
That was good. I was proud of
Right?
you.
I thought I was holding back. That took a lot out of me to hold it in that long.
I was proud of you.
I was hoping for an attaboy, John.
I don't know if that was really a criticism or an attaboy. It was just pointing out how long it took. Clearly, John was keeping track.
It was just a clock management thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you guys, by the way, I saw the ratings for Colts Patriots Saturday night. That was an NFL Network only game.
Mm-hmm.
The ratings were monstrous.
I believe it.
Especially considering it was on NFL Network only. Yeah.
Was it on NFL Network in those markets, though? I think you get access to.
It says the game was exclusive to NFL Network except in Boston and Indianapolis.
Yeah, it is a rule.
It was syndicated in those markets.
Yeah, it is a rule. Like the game Thursday is around the country is NFL Network only. It's not a Fox game, but it will be on Fox here because
It will be on Fox here?
Yeah,
Okay.
because in the markets it has to be made available
Free.
on network television. So that's like why when the Titans are on Monday night, you can usually watch it on ABC or something. I think the networks the local affiliates get to bid for it. It's generally how it works. But
So do you guys think this is a problem that's gotten worse? Do you think it's the same? There's just the product is so big. This is a great segue. The product is so big. There's so many eyeballs on the NFL product. It's the most watched television program of anything in this country, period. Like if you look at the top 50 ratings of an entire calendar year, when we get to December 31st and they would put it out, look at how many of them are NFL games of the top 50. Like basically, 80% of the programming is NFL games for highest rated shows programming in this country for an entire calendar year. So is it just there's so many people paying attention to it, or do you think this is the way it's always been? Do you think because of social media it's louder? What is it? Is it all the above? Is it just literally the same? It's just there's been bad calls forever and all this other stuff is in play and that's why it seems like it's worse? Or do we truly believe the officiating is just getting worse and worse?
I think it's the same as it's always been.
You think it's the same as it's always
I actually
been?
think it's a lot better than it's always been.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I think if you go back and look at a game in the 1980s, you'll see just as many bad calls and you had no replay. So it was worse. You couldn't fix a bad call. There's still bad calls now. You don't think there was bad pass interference calls in the 1980s?
Oh,
I think that's always been a problem.
It's a good question because I tend to lean with
I
Willie
believe
that
officiating evolves and gets better in every sport. But it also gets more challenging because the players and the games are faster. The games are played by better athletes that evolve as well. So I think the challenge is greater than it's ever been.
Here's
to
what
be an official in this day and time. But I think the officials are better.
Here's how I would answer it. I think to an extent Willie's right, because I do think if you go and you look in the NFL, there are some refs, like some officials, some crews that if you got them, like, okay, all right, we're good. They, like Bill Vinovich, I think is one of the best in the league right now. I like his crew.
That was literally where I was going. Like, who's the best right now?
I would say him. Little Hockey Lee, he's okay. I don't think he's great. But then you have some that, like Jerome Boger, his crew, that are just awful, and you just know that they're going to be awful, and they're always awful. And the problem there is, why are they still here? Like, why? If everybody knows they're awful, and I'd love to see this, this magical grade sheet that they have, this mystical thing that they always say, well, they get graded. They do get grades. Like, great. What does that mean? Like, what does that do? Because they're still here. They're still
Is it
around.
pass fail? What is it?
Yeah. Does it just mean, hey, you get Jacksonville every week, or like what does it mean? Like you're still an official. That's where I think the NFL's got to get better, is hold them to a little bit more of a higher standard. And if you're truly grading poorly, then you're not going to be an official anymore.
I also think this, philosophically, this is what makes it hard for officials as well. To play the game, you have hundreds of thousands of players competing for a very small amount of jobs at the top level. Let's just take football. We watch training camp every year. You got 90 guys that are fortunate enough to get invited to a camp where 53 are going to make it. And every year there's a new crop of people. I don't know a whole lot of people that aspire in their lives to become an official. I commend all the people that do. We can't run these sports without officials. So where do you go and find a talent pool of officials? It's challenging. I've heard in the NHL, because I've been fortunate enough to be at the broadcast meetings when they talk about this, the director of officials, he scouts. He tries to get people interested in officials. There's not just some thing where you turn on a light and say, come here and be an official, and you have a huge line out the door for these people to come in there. It takes a special kind of person that wants to do that wants to get ridiculed, that wants to get torn apart by both stands. It's hoping to not get any attention. It takes a special person, I think, to do that. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm being rational about it. Now, of course, when I'm rooting for a team, I want to go crazy on them just like everybody else. We're all human. But I'm just pointing out it's a tough job. And it's not like, playing quarterback in the NFL where everybody grows up wanting to do that. And who grows up wanting to be an official?
That's a very good question.
Brooks Bratton, maybe? He seems to be obsessed with officials.
I can see Brooksy as an official.
Yeah, he's like obsessed in a good way. Like he always charts and knows everybody who's calling the game. I don't know. That's a great question.
It's a fantastic.
Willie, I don't know.
Question.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever say what do you want to do? Young man, young lady. Like, I want to be an official, right? I want to be a referee.
I'll be a ref.
You're right.
Listen, have I ever wanted to yell at an umpire at a kid's game? Absolutely. If I feel like they've made a bad call, but I try as best as I can to remember these guys are coming out here to serve this group of kids.
They're not getting rich. That's just it.
Not getting rich. They're doing this because we need people to do this, or else we can't have these games.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's a scrimmage. And the dads are umpiring.
Yep.
So
that's right.
Try to keep that in mind. Like these people are here because they want to do it. It takes a special kind of person to do that.
All right, we'll come back. David Poyle coming up in about 15 minutes, our weekly chat with him. We'll come back with the second hour. Right now I'm going to talk to you about my friends and our friends on the show at Creation CBD. And I suspect that a lot of you have aches and pains on your body, like me. It happens as we get older. It happens maybe if you've been really active. It happens. There's a variety of reasons why you have aches and pains. And maybe you're searching for a solution like me all the time. Well, I've got it. Creation CBD. Creation means healing. And that right there says a lot. Plus, it's locally or organically sourced CBD products from right here in Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sale, Creation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use and your pets, too. Yeah, a lot of you have pets. And this just in. As they get older, they get aches and pains, right? You have an older aging dog that has a hard time getting around, or a pet that has medical issues like our female German Shepherd, maybe has seizures, and you're searching for that solution. Well, they've got a pet tincture. They've got CBD pet treats, lots of things that can calm them down. Maybe they have high anxiety with storms. All these things can help your pets too. So if you're going to get on their website and order some of these great products, CreationCompany.com, do me a favor and put this promo code in before you check out, DDC25. DDC25, which is Darren, Donick, and Chase. 25, which is what you get, 25% off your order at CreationCompany.com. Make sure you do that at the end. It's Creation CBD, curated for life.
102.5 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3, 9.
This is The Drive to the Playoffs, brought to you by Coleman Tractor on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A short game week for the Tennessee Titans as they look to rebound from the loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday as they take on the Niners on Thursday. Here's what Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel had to say about preparing for a game in such a short work week.
When you lose late in the year, you know what I mean, that's kind of what happens. And so you have to be playing your best football late in the year. We got a short week. We're starting today. We've obviously, the coaches and everybody get going. We got to get these guys back mentally and physically. This will be a huge week to try to improve mentally. We won't be able to do much physically. And you got to prepare to win a game against a great opponent, a great challenge who's won 5 of their last 6 games.
I'm Elijah Campbell, your Drive the Playoffs update here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Second hour, Darren, Donick, and Chase here on this Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, Chase McCabe with you. Elijah Campbell manning things at our Hillside Medical Game Studios. Let's say hello and good morning to Pat Sperduto. Been a long-time scout for the Chiefs, was a coach for the Titans, was the head coach of the Nashville Cats. He's been around football his entire adult life. Before we ask people for help, Pat, I'm going to ask you, because you've been around the game your entire life.
Okay.
Kevin Byard was really outspoken about the officiating on Sunday. Robert Quinn was very outspoken about the officiating last night in their game against the Vikings. This is not anything new to the sport, but there's been a lot of people complaining about the officiating. Do you think it's exactly the same as it's been for decades? Do you think it's gotten worse? Do you actually think it's better? Like, where are you on officials in today's game?
Well, officiating obviously has gotten better over time just because of all the tools that they have with replay, with, you know what I'm saying, with all the prep that goes into it and all the video that they watch just as much. I mean, they do as much work as some of the coaches do, you know, because they're always trying to better themselves as well. It's you know, just look at the pay for officials too. It's gone up astronomically from the early days. So it's always going to get better. I think that, you know, and you don't want to use COVID as an excuse for some of this stuff, but obviously it's putting restrictions on a lot of things. I'm sure the officials would have spent maybe more time together the day before or whatever, but, you know, travel's changed a bunch and, you know, everybody's trying to work their way through it. But do I think officiating's gotten better? Yes, it's gotten better over time. And I'm just always a believer that never put the officials in a position to determine the outcome of the game. So we can all make, you know, whatever reasoning we want to say that that's the official's fault, a bad call, whatever. That, you know, just don't let them determine the outcome of the game. Don't let them be in that position, you know. Win by 40.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question on this?
What's that?
I would, because you've coached. Do you think that replay has made our view of officials worse because we can see all the angles when they can't? So from a coaching point of view, would you almost, if they told you could go back to the days before replay, would you rather do that, or do you like it better now?
Well, throw in, Chase, just not only replay, but high-definition television, high-definition cameras, angles, everything we have available just sitting and watching now that maybe we didn't have in the past.
Just think about a catch. A catch used to be, oh, you got it. You know, that was it. Now it's, you know, did the ball touch the ground or and they're, you know, like you said, high definition cameras, you're getting all these different angles, or did the ball cross the goal line? And, you know, so it puts such a huge scrutiny on the officials. It's added pressure for them to get it perfect. And it's really hard. It's human, you know, it's human error. But to that same token, players make mistakes too. And, you know, you got to put it on you. And coaches make mistakes. How many times have I made when I was coaching, made a bad call? I'd be like, gosh, you know, why did I call that? What an idiot. You know, I'd kick myself in the butt a bunch of times for making stupid calls, but it's human error. And yes, the scrutiny of high definition, instant replay, you know, it's the same way you look at hockey, the offsides. I mean, you know, now it's like they're trying to get it to the exact second that the guy's skate comes off the blue line, or it's across the board. It's just made it tougher on them. It's trying to expose human error as something greater than it is. At no point in time do I think officials are leaning towards one team or another. I don't believe that at all.
The maddest you've ever been in a game from a call by an official was what?
I can go to arena football where you have 8 guys on the field for both teams, and a team ran a play with 9 guys and was about to run a play again with 9 guys, and I literally ran into the middle of the field, right up to the official, and started counting right next to him in Kansas City. That's funny that you said that, but I remember it like it was I never thought I would ever do that, but I literally sprinted right to the middle. While the play was getting ready to go off, I sprinted over to the official. I said, they had 9 guys last play. Let's count them together. And he throws a flag on me, of course, unsportsmanlike conduct. But that's fine. But he had to count 9 guys. And I said, that was last play. You were about to let him run another play with 9 guys on defense.
And what did he say? He say anything?
Oh, he gave me the penalty. Walked it backwards. Oh, maybe we made that mistake, but that doesn't give you an excuse to come out on the field. I was like, it's impossible for us to complete a pass.
It's a power play.
It is a power play.
The first time ever in arena football that they actually had a power play.
Twice.
I wonder if the other coach on the other side, this is great, man. We got 9 guys. This is awesome.
Oh,
great new defense.
At first, I don't think he noticed the first play that it was 9. But after, you could tell he knew because he just went down to the other end of the bench. It was
he wanted no part of it. He knew exactly what you were doing.
Oh, yeah, he knew exactly why I was losing my mind.
Pat, we're going to be at Mercedes-Benz of Music City tomorrow during our show. We're very excited about that. 734 Envious Lane. Tell everybody this is our final push this week. Christmas is upon us. How can people help?
Tomorrow between 10 and 2 during your show, we're asking your listeners who have been stepped up to the challenge every single year that we've called out to them, and they've come in droves. And I know it's a little bit different this year, and you and I talked a little bit about it yesterday, Darren. I know it's harder because of COVID. We are not allowed to take, in the past we've just asked people to basically repurpose their own stuff. This time we can't use their own stuff. We have to have new packaged or newly bought items to give to homeless in order to help them. We're asking them to just take, 20 minutes out of their day, run by a big box store, whether it's a Big Lots or whatever, wherever they can find the least expensive items. And we're looking for specific items this year. We're looking for sweatshirts, bigger sizes preferably. It doesn't matter if whatever logo is on it is irrelevant. If it's a misspelled word on it, if it's irregular, it's irrelevant. We just need it to be new. We need socks in packages. Again, they need to be new. We need gloves, bigger size gloves, of course, and knit hats in order to help some of our homeless people that have fallen on hard times or are in a tough situation get through the winter. Fortunately, I was just looking at the weather, and Saturday is going to be in the high 50s, which is great, but I'm sure right after Saturday we're going to take another drop down where it'll be like the last couple days in the 30s and 40s, and we're trying to help them get through this winter. And your listeners have stepped up every single year and gone out of their way and come and helped us. And once again, we're asking them to just give us, whatever they can, because anything they give is going to be taken and used the right way. And we're just grateful for you guys. We're a huge shout out to Yogi's Pizzeria in Creve Hall. They've done meals every single year. Yogi Davis and his wife Robin and their whole group, they get there early in the morning and they start cooking and packaging up food, and we get to feed 150 to 200 homeless people every Christmas, and we're so grateful to them. And Yogi's a great guy, and of course the families, Willie and your family's been awesome, and having the McFarlands out there has been awesome, and the Warrens came out every year. It's a great way to start the day for us, and Willie and I have talked about it. There's no question it's a selfish feeling because you feel like you've done something little, but for them it's something big, and we're grateful that they allow us to help them.
Well said. Pat, thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow, and we look forward to doing our show tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Once again, that address is 734 Envious Lane.
Thanks again, Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
All right, Pat, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Pat Sperduto, Kansas City Chiefs scout. He's been a coach. He's been around the sport his whole life, and he's asking. They've been at this for almost 25 years. I don't know, Willie, you've been a part of it for, I guess, 2+ decades, right? And we've been a part of it for, I don't know, 15+ years. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. One, it's amazing to see the growth of our city and, unfortunately, the growth of who we're trying to help, right? You know, just that's the sad part is the numbers continue to grow, and that's why, quite honestly, we had to get the word out more. We needed more help because there were just so many people that were struggling. So if you can do anything, it would be greatly appreciated. We will come back. We'll have a conversation, a weekly chat with Predators General Manager David Poile. That's next.
Breaking news. The Nashville Predators have had their next 3 games postponed due to COVID and will be shut down at least through the end of the NHL's holiday break on December 26th. Keep it locked here for the latest from Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Is it time to fix your roof? Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local roofer that has built the reputation of delivering better service. E2 assists customers with roof repair and replacements through their insurance claim assistance, which has awarded them with 95-star Google ratings and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Find out if insurance will pay for your new roof with a free inspection at e2roofingnashville.com.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House invites you to join them for all this year's college football bowl game and playoff action. Bama, Cincy, Georgia, or Michigan, who will win it all? Boomba's has countless big screen TVs and a huge video wall to watch it all go down. Enjoy their 2-time award-winning best pizza in America, featured on the Food Network, and 100% crafted for you. Wash it all down with their award-winning happy hour with $2 Boom Brews and select domestic pints. Locations in Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Spring Hill, and East Nashville. Pizza, beer, sports. See you there, Nashville.
The holidays are here, folks, and FanDuel Sportsbook has a gift for all new customers. No, not a new pair of slippers. 30-1 odds on any Christmas Day NBA or NFL game. Sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook, bet on any team to win any of the 7 marquee matchups taking place on Christmas, and if your bet wins, you'll be paid out 30 times your wager. Joe Rexford here to let you know you can turn a $5 bet into $150. Golden State, Phoenix. I think I might go with Phoenix at home on Christmas Day. There's no better place to bet the college football championship than on America's #1 sportsbook. Also, it's simple and easy to use, safe and secure. Get paid in as little as 2 hours. Don't miss your chance to win $150 on a $5 bet. Sign up with promo code Joe102. Place your first FanDuel Sportsbook wager on any NBA or NFL Christmas Day game for exclusive 30-1 odds. Our gift to all new customers. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today with promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
As promised, every Tuesday at this time, we bring in Predators General Manager David Poile here on Darren, Donick, and Chase. David, how you doing?
Everything is good. Everything is good on the ice in terms of how our team is playing. Off the ice, it's a little bit up in the air for not only for the Predators, but lots of teams in the NHL with this new Omicron variant, I should say, sort of sending everybody into the unknown once again. So the protocols have all been ramped up like they were over a year ago, and it's a place that we've been before, but it's not as much fun, and it's certainly unfortunate with a lot of games getting canceled. The Predators now have 5 games canceled that we have to make up, but we're not by ourselves. There's a lot of other teams that are in the same situation. So I like everything that's happening on the ice for the Preds, but off the ice, obviously we certainly would like to get back to a little bit a healthier environment for all of us in the National Hockey League.
So with that being said, David, let's just start there because there's a lot of layers with all of this. Let's just start with how is the league going to make up all of this? Because the players don't want the checks to go away. The league doesn't want the games to go away. So you got to find a spot, and, of course, there's a 3-week spot in February that's wide open. And I know that there could be issues with building availability, and this is a player's deal. This is something that they bargained for, and it's their decision, but isn't it pretty easy right now to sit here? Because I think you told us last week January 10th is kind of like the drop-dead date. But doesn't it kind of seem like the more this continues to happen, and it's gotten a lot worse since the last time we spoke, that this thing is probably, unfortunately, not going to happen? I mean, it seems highly unlikely that they're going to China, right? Or no?
It certainly feels that way, even talking to a couple of individual players. I mean, there's certainly no guarantees for their health or their safety or their ability to get out of China if they were sick. So I do feel that it's not going in the right direction in terms of having the NHL players participate in China, which then brings us to what you just said. We now have 3 weeks off, which has also been promised to the players. So I would think that we probably have 2 options here, is probably have a compromise in February in terms of the amount of break that the players were supposed to have, and then maybe capture and make up a lot of these games in that, say, the 3rd week of February. I think that's a possibility. And of course, the last resort would be, in addition to, making a more compressed schedule, which I think we would not love to do that, is just extend the season for another week, if you will, to get in the games that are missing. So, in any event, it's going to happen, and we just have to see what it's going to look like. But I agree with you. I think the first decision that needs to be made is of whether the NHL players are going to participate in China. And once that is resolved, and if it is like you and I are just talking about right now, that we're not going to go there, then I think you'll start seeing the schedule getting remade, if you will.
So during Thursday night's game against Colorado, Elliot Friedman, who joins us on Thursdays on this show, tweeted out that he had learned that Colorado had the option of postponing the game. Basically, it's whatever the time frame was, hour, 2 hours before puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. I guess the first question I have is, why did Colorado have the option and not you guys? Is it because they had one less skater? Is there a certain number you got to reach? I don't know how that works, so I'm going to ask the general manager.
Well, you are correct, and Elliot Friedman was correct. This, again, is not a perfect situation that we're dealing with. Right now, on game days, we are testing twice a day. And we and Colorado test the second time when the players all arrive at the building, which is anywhere from 3 to 2 hours before the game. And all of our staff, including coaches and the traveling parties. So you have approximately 100 people testing within that 1 hour. So that's step one. Step two, and where the problem exists, is that we only have what they call these 18 stations or 18 spinners that process the testing. So you can now divide 18 into 100 to realize that you're not getting your test back right away. So what happened specifically is Colorado's tests were late coming back, and they had players out in warm-up that eventually got scratched from the game. And when it got to be about 5 to 7, and Joe Sakic, the general manager of Colorado, and myself are talking with the league, they weren't sure whether they were 2 guys short, 3 guys short, or maybe 4 guys short because there was some inconclusive tests. For example, Jack Johnson, one of the players, didn't join the game until midway through the first period because he had an inconclusive test and he had to be retested again. So, again, the leadership at the league, Bill Daly, Gary Bettman, felt that they needed to give Colorado the option, give them the comfort that they felt that they couldn't play the game because of the situation. Joe Sakic went back to their coach, went back to their players after the warm-up, and approximately 5 to 7, the players felt that they were still in a good enough situation and maybe getting Jack Johnson back that we should play the game, and that's how it played out. Not perfect scenario for sure.
Yeah. So was it you guys reaching your threshold once Mark Borowiecki tested positive in that time frame you just described in Chicago at the United Center, and he was unavailable for the Blackhawks game? Was it now at that point, yet while you guys went on and played the game and won in overtime, had you kind of reached that threshold where now you're getting the opportunity to at least weigh in on whether you should be shut down or not, or how does that work?
The league, again, was never specific. It was never just about the numbers. It was more about the consecutive days that we have tested. For example, with getting another test with Borowiecki the Chicago game, but then the next day we are sitting basically on the plane after we've tested, heading to Carolina, where we have had another positive test. And in that case, the league just said that's 4 days in a row that we've had positive tests. It's now time to shut you down. You're still in a dangerous situation. So that's versus, say, Carolina, who we're going to play, who had not had any positive tests in the last 4 days, and they felt that they were safe to play. So again, this is doctors, this is medical. I'm certainly not qualified to make that decision. And as you can see around the league, today, yesterday, probably tomorrow, I mean, there seems to be more cases that are still breaking out around the league. The good news for the Predators, by being shut down, and in theory, and knock on wood, without getting any more players testing positive, all of our players, the 8 players that tested positive, will all be eligible to play in Dallas because they will have timed out, if you will, in terms of the amount of time that they've either tested or had the COVID. So it's a moving target every day here, and we're moving around the lineup basically every day until we get everybody back.
And the Dallas game that you're referring to is the first game back from the break. That'll be on Monday, December 27th, down in Dallas against the Stars. That is slated for a 7:30 puck drop. So, David, with all that being said, this was not a good time. This team was on a roll, 7 in a row, playing some really, really good hockey, certainly their best hockey of the season through 30 games of this season. What have you really liked about this winning streak they're currently on?
Yeah, it's been great. It's everything that we had hoped in terms of it getting a little bit better as the season went along. But throughout our lineup, I mean, again, going by position, I mean, Saros has been terrific every game. David Rittich on the road trip wins a couple of games when Saros is sick. On defense, Roman Josi almost at the leading defenseman scoring in the league, and younger players like Favreau and Carrier continue to play better. The resurgence, if you will, of our third pair with Borowiecki and Benning, they played great up front. In the last game, Tanner Jeannot gets the winning goal in overtime. Trennan continued to play well. Colton Sissons is now playing first line for us. Started the season, if you will, on our fourth line. On the Herd line is now playing first line. Tommy Novak, a young player, gets his first goal against Chicago. Philip Forsberg is playing really good, solid hockey and leading the way offensively for us. So it's just a lot of good things. Power play remains real good for us, and our penalty killing that's probably needs to improve a little bit. It made some big strides the last couple of games. So a lot of people getting opportunities probably higher than we or they thought they were going to get, and it's a good sign. And again, it's certainly like the chemistry, certainly like how everybody feels about each other. I think the fans can see that on the ice, and if you listen to the players in the interviews, they're really supportive and believing in everybody. So we're in a good position right now, and the players have really done a good job.
David Poyle is with us, Predators general manager. And David, I want to ask you something. You guys certainly were thrown into the fire and did an amazing job on Thursday and Friday. With what happened on Saturday, so the team gets shut down. Some of the guys go back to Milwaukee and play that night, which was really a tip of the hat to them. I guess they played in Chicago. They didn't have to go very far, but they jump in there and play a third straight night. Let me ask you this, though. From now until December 27th, I know the policy with the Players Association is you basically hop a plane and go on the day of the game. So is it fair to say that the team really won't have any chance to practice or do anything between those two dates? That's a long time to not be able to practice or anything.
No, again, another thing that's not perfect, not right. I guess there's really no fairness in the situation. And again, you get into being a little concerned for more, not only the COVID now, but more injuries. So I think the NHL and the PA are, as we speak, are currently working on new protocols, different protocols. We see that the NFL changed their protocols. And also, Willie, as you mentioned, the 26th is a sort of a pivotal date. If we could practice that date, if we could test that date, it would sure put us in a better place for our game on the 27th. And that's kind of an unequal date, if you will. I mean, if you're at home, you're in a better situation. Of course, no travel, and you can get tested easily. If you, like us, have to go down to Dallas, I mean, for a game that night, we have to leave at least no later than 8 o'clock in the morning, and then get down to Dallas so that we can skate in the morning. And in addition to that, we got to decide how the testing is going to work. Are we allowed to test on the 26th? Do we test in Nashville on the 27th? We get on the plane or we get down to Dallas. What if we have some positive tests then? I mean, we may not be able to field the team if we aren't allowed to test. So the league is aware of all these concerns, and hopefully we can get them in order so that everybody can feel good about playing that game on the 27th.
You've laid out a lot of the practicality issues with the protocols as they stand, and a lot of people around the league have illustrated some other ones. Jared Bednar talked about something you brought up is when you test twice a day and you're testing just an hour or two before the game or waiting for results, then you can't react. You can't call somebody up unless you have 3 people sitting in the stands that have all tested negative and can jump in uniform, which is not going to happen. So I guess my question for you, David, is what does it take to actually change the protocols if that's what everybody decides, players, health experts, league officials? What has to go into that decision to come up with the plan? It would seem like there's a lot of details to go through there.
I think, first of all, I think everybody realizes that the testing twice a day is not the answer, and it's just causing problems, and that has to be changed. So I'm sure that's one of the protocols that's being addressed by the NHL, the NHLPA, and the doctors right now. I think, as you just said, every day there's these conversations between those three groups. We see that the NFL had a similar breakouts, I guess you would say, to the NHL, and they've actually changed their protocols. The NBA is going through the exact same thing. They have not come out exactly with new protocols, but I think we need to do something different. Sir, for example, we basically are in a league where it's mandatory to be vaccinated. Maybe, I'm just throwing this out, this is David Poyle, not anybody else, that maybe there can be mandatory booster shots and no testing. I'm not trying to say that what we should do exactly, but it's an idea. I have to believe that the league, the PA, and the doctors are all thinking about these different things to allow us to get back on the ice, to get the games played, but also be in a safe environment. So it's everything is difficult right now, that's for sure. So one day at a time.
Yeah. And in the meantime, David, I think you guys have to be commended. You have to be thrilled because what it has done, it has tested your guys' organizational depth. You guys digging down, especially at forward, thinking about how low on the depth chart you had to go. And those guys like a Cole Smith or even a Cole Sherwood, who you just brought in a couple of weeks ago, they went in. Rocco Grimaldi, who has a special situation, you know, he gets waived, gets sent down. He comes up with a great attitude. All of these guys that maybe you thought, you know, maybe you wouldn't have to use, but they all go in there and they all were able to fill roles and get the job done.
Yeah, we found out a lot about a lot of different players, about our organization, about your depth. But to me, the most important thing we found out about our character and our belief in each other. So, as I said, you know, at the start of the year, you know, a lot of people didn't pick us for very much, and I certainly understand that. And believe me, after 30 games, I'm not saying that we're anywhere near the best team in the league, but I certainly like our try. I like our attitude. I like our chemistry. I like our belief in each other, and let's just keep going along and see what happens. I like where we're headed.
David Poyle is with us, Predators general manager, joins us every Tuesday at 11:15. And David, one thing that I think, knowing you like I do, that you have a bright coach that is probably going to be in an NHL bench full-time one of these days, and Carl Taylor did a tremendous job filling in. But the job he's done in Milwaukee, just what have you seen out of him since he's come into the organization and taken over the Admirals and the job that he did in those 2 games with the Preds?
Yeah, that's been another neat thing. You usually can't say that too much about COVID, but that not only we're trying players, but we're trying and giving opportunities to coaches. And as I've mentioned to a lot of the players, that when Carl Taylor or Scott Ford comes up here, this is no different than when we gave you your first chance to come and play in the National Hockey League, and how they've been working for years to get this type of an opportunity. So it was unique, and it was also special because so many of these guys have actually played for Carl or played with Scott Ford as a player. Like Roman Josi even played with him as a player. So I think they had a lot of respect and currency coming in, and they worked with our coaches in terms of the systems and how we wanted to play. But I think we all see the results spoke for themselves in terms of how well the players played, and it was all good. So really happy for Carl and Scott Ford, and certainly always felt very bullish about them, but maybe more people in the hockey world can see it now that they get a chance to be up here in the National Hockey League.
And Scott Nickel was on the bench too. So how much does that give him maybe a different perspective of getting to watch a couple games with some of these young players that we've been talking about that he has to evaluate on a daily basis? How I guess a benefit, how much of a benefit was that for him?
Well, Scott, former Predators player, NHL player, the closest that we have to somebody that last played, if you will, in the league, and he's that's what his job is. I mean, he's in charge of our development department in addition to being the GM down in Milwaukee. So again, all these guys that we've called up, I mean, he's had a hand in developing along the way. So again, another guy that's had firsthand information about them, and I think it was a good fit for everybody. Like Scott really is Carl Taylor's boss or what have you. We kind of kidded around that we needed a management presence down there just to make sure everything was going okay. So we had a few laughs about that, as did the players. So again, it speaks volumes in terms of how everybody's getting along and everybody's trying to do the right thing. But I know Scott's doing a lot of different things for our organization, and that was great to see him on the bench and to get to see how the coaches operate and see how the players operate. I think it was all good.
David, I was waiting for him to have to center the third or fourth line, but I think he could do it.
Well, I think he wanted us to play a little bit more physical in those games. Now we did play physical, but Scott's level of physical and how we play may not be like it used to be. So he's all good.
Well, David, we appreciate it as always, and Merry Christmas to you and the family. And we hope to see you here soon and get back to semi-normal.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
And there you go, our weekly chat with Predators general manager David Poile. He joins us every Tuesday at 11:15. We'll have much more coming here on Darren, Donick, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Smashville.
Here's Duchene breaking in. He scores! Matt Duchene wins it in double overtime!
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Today is the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Also going to be a cloudy day with a couple isolated sprinkles possible as highs head up near 50 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Attention nice list recipients. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Yo, this is Justin from Music Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
From curriculum-based literacy programs and sport leagues to college tours and workforce readiness tracks, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provide a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
To remind pet owners that Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge, we're making a really cute pet-themed radio commercial. Hear that snoring? 2 sleeping puppies. Oh, they're awake! And they're heading over to that cute chubby baby that's just sitting there. What? Oh, now they're licking his face. Words will never do this justice. You'll just have to picture it.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Fever is a potential sign of COVID or the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Exergen Temporal Scanners are available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Interact with Darren, Donick, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Back here on Darren, Donick, and Chase. Thanks to David Boyle for joining us, our weekly chat with him. Tuesdays at 11:15. Hey, if you want to go see War on Drugs at the Ryman Auditorium, that'll be on January 24th. Just because you're swell and just because you're listening to this show, be caller 5 right now. It's 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. You'll win a pair of tickets to see War on Drugs at the Ryman Auditorium on January 24th. Just for listening to the show, because it is the week of Christmas. Let's give. Be caller 5. Good luck. All right. some things have changed in the NHL. Very, 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 very light schedule tonight. And that's it. They're shutting down through the Christmas break and then return afterwards. Teams can return back to normal activities, I believe, on, the 26th in the afternoon, I believe?
Yes.
Correct.
That normally is not the case. Usually when you get the break, it's the 24th, 25th, and the full day of the 26th, and you fly day of game. The road teams do fly day of game to your destination on the 27th. So they have adjusted that. There's only one game left that has not been postponed tonight. That's Tampa Bay and Vegas. The other one that was scheduled, the Capitals and Flyers, that one has now been postponed. Issues with the Capitals. So,
do we think Tampa Bay and Vegas will actually happen?
Who knows? You heard David Boyle. Right now, the protocol is you test twice a day. So
there was only one game last night. Dallas beat Minnesota. That was it.
It's very difficult right now, the way this new variant is spreading. It spreads fast, and it shows up. And when you test twice, you're going to find people. The way these guys travel and are together in the locker rooms and whatnot. So that's what they're running into right now. So you heard David Boyle discussing it. So right now what they've done is they've said, okay, let's get in what we can. If you can't get it in, we'll figure it out. The break will give them some time, I think, to look at the protocols, which I think they're already doing. They're also discussing the Olympics.
Should have official word on that here very, very soon. It's coming.
There's a lot of speculations.
They're not going, which is what I said last week and this week. They're not going.
Yeah, it's the players, I think, are coming to that realization that it's just going to be too much. And for the business of the league, it's going to be very important to try to reschedule some of these games. It makes a lot of sense. You heard David talking about it. I think the key, though, going forward is they're just going to have to adjust the protocols. Now, the thing about what happens if you do test positive, a lot of these people that have done it, once you get through, then you don't have to be tested. So it's not like you're going to get nailed twice on the testing part. But I think all that to say, you heard David Boyle talking a lot about the discussions in the league. What is the right way to do this so that you don't have every week somebody coming up with a bunch of cases here. And at the same time, it's very important to make sure the health officials are on board with it. But if everybody's vaccinated, I think that's what we find, that the vaccinations are successfully keeping people out of the hospital. And that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, for the greater good of everybody. Symptoms or no symptoms at all, but yet you test positive. I think they're evolving their viewpoint on how to go about it. The NFL has already done it, and I would think that the NBA and the NHL are going to move in that direction. That's just my guess.
Look, I heard Charles Robinson on Robbie and Rexroad this morning, Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. He's must-listen to radio. He's really good. He was – I thought it was really interesting to hear him talk about where they're at in the NFL. And I'm not surprised at all. And, boy, if there's anybody who could probably weigh in on this, it's you. Because Jason and I don't go through this. And quite honestly, if we did, we would feel exactly like these NFL players and teams. There have been basically mutinies going on behind the scenes. Like, the players are done. Like, they're done with all the testing. They're done with all this. They're ready to say, look, man, here's the deal. If I can't play, it's just like any other time before this all hit. If I can't play and I don't feel good, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to get better. And then I'll let you know when I'm ready to come back to the facility. They're just kind of over all this testing. The NFL is unfortunately going to have to be the lead dog in this, and I think everybody will follow suit.
Well, aren't they usually?
It's a shame that it has to be that way because I understand. I mean, I do. You know, we've been talking about this on the show now for a little bit. We're just at the point now. Look, we got to live with this. This is what it is. It's not going away, and we just have to learn to work around it and live with it. And it's really interesting to hear him talk about how the NFL players are just flat out done with the testing. And like I said, I think he said it was the Rams. Like there was a mutiny. Like they're like, we're not even going out on the field. We're done. And like they had to be coaxed to go out there and play the game. Like that's how done they are with the daily testing and everything that's going on with them. And look, here's the deal: if you've been vaccinated and you're asymptomatic, they're going, man, I feel perfectly fine. Why can't I play? I mean, I've been vaccinated. You asked me to get vaccinated. I got vaccinated, and I tested positive, and I feel completely normal and completely fine. Why can't I work? That's what they're saying. And you know what? I don't know how you push back on that. At least I can't.
No, and the tricky part and the fine line, and this I think applies to anything, any type of illness, is, well, it's not just about you. It's about, affecting somebody else. Like I mean, I've said it on the air. Like when I got vaccinated, it was more so for my dad because my dad was going through cancer treatments and I was the one taking him and was with him. And that was my driving force. It wasn't as much about me as it was more about him. And so that's still the concern is, well, are you spreading it or what have you? But I agree. I mean,
but that's not going to change.
It's not.
Everybody's dealing with that. That's not
right.
the NFL. It's not the NHL. Everybody deals with that.
That's what I'm saying. They eventually, and I think we're there. And honestly, I think sports is going to be the driving force with everything with this. We have to live. We've talked about this new normal. Well, we're there. This is it. This is the new normal, and we're learning to live with it. And I think that, what I'm about to say could be unpopular, but every time you get a stuffy nose, you shouldn't have to go get a test. Like there are still colds, there are still other things, and we just have to learn to power through that. And I think we are, and I think you're seeing this with the NFL, and I think the other leagues are going to follow suit. Now, if you're coughing your head off and you got a fever and, everything, then yeah, okay, test and stay home. And just like you would with anything else, don't be stupid. Don't bring it. I remember using you just made the list of somebody that, and I think you did it too, Darren, of getting on a plane, just coughing their head off. And
I've used it many times.
I mean, it's like that's common sense.
Well, we were talking about it Friday up in Gallatin, Chase, off the air, like, hopefully if one thing this will teach us is, how about we do this, for the betterment of mankind? How about when we don't feel well and we feel like it's not about this particularly, like you just don't feel well. Like during the winter months, that happens. Like our house all last week, okay? And guess what? They went and got tested and they were negative too. But guess what? They were just sick. It happens in the winter months. How about we just don't go around people? Like that's, how about just common courtesy? Like I hope maybe we've learned, like, how about maybe you don't, do normal things whenever you're not feeling well,
right,
like we used to always do, and go in a place and hack away. How about we stay home away from people and just get better, then go back out,
Sure.
Maybe that'll happen. Maybe we'll look at it a little bit differently, where before it's just like, I've got a flight, so I feel like total crap. I'm running 102 temperature, and who knows? I may have the flu. Who knows what I've got?
Then
but
don't
I'm going
get
to get
on
on
a
that
plane.
flight. Yeah, I'm going to get on that flight, and I'm just going to get on there and hack away and sit next to two people, and, good luck to everybody. Like, how about we just don't do that anymore?
Yeah. Well, it's just common sense.
Just saying.
Common courtesy. But when it comes to how the NFL is going to do it, focus.
Sorry, got off topic a little bit.
You're okay. Focus testing is what they're calling it. I think that's what they should do. If you're asymptomatic and you're vaccinated, you've done everything that you've been asked to do and supposed to do, then you just got to play on.
The difference in the NHL is you have Canada and obviously 7 teams, and Canada is in a different stage of the vaccination for the population. You still saw last week a game that Montreal had to not have fans, and that's not good. It just shows you where they are there. So that's, I think, going to complicate things some. There's also going up across the border, the crisscrossing of games. You're sending people across the border. That's where it gets complicated if somebody does test positive, because there are still going to be some people that test positive, even if, I think we all have seen enough, especially with this variant. What generally looks to be the case is it's not as severe, especially on people that are vaccinated.
Yep.
It is very contagious, though. So you're going to get these positive cases. So what do you do about that? And you have to protect the vulnerable to a spot, to a point, right? You have to try to keep that in mind. So you shouldn't just flippantly just go around spreading it around everybody. But I think what's pointed out was these players are tested so often compared to the general population. The general population is going through the same thing, but a lot of them, like you said, Chase, unless you're really being diligent, every time you have a stuffy nose, you're going to get a test. There's plenty of people not being tested. They may actually be carrying it. They may be completely asymptomatic, and that's leading to the spread. That's why the vaccination is so important, because that's your protection. And the booster shots are very important too. The stats come out every month. It's overwhelming. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to end up in the hospital unless you have severe complications or you're at an age where you're much more susceptible to that kind of thing. That's where I'm with
these leagues. That's where I'm with the leagues, though. The players and the coaches.
So the league
asked us to do something. We did it. And so let us work. If we're fine, let us work.
Yeah.
You asked us to do it. We've done it. And let us work, and let's stop. Because, like I said, you're the one that has to go through it. Like, Jason, I don't. And I'm just telling you right now, if I'm just being totally honest, I'm sure I would be sick to death, just like most everybody. If we had to go through all the time, I'm sure I would be. I mean, I know it's part of it, and I would just begrudgingly do it and be like, oh, gosh, which probably they're all there. It's very clear. The picture that I heard Charles Robinson paint, the NFL, they're already there like, enough, okay, enough. We're tired of it. And they're done. They're done with it. And I suspect it's no different than in the other leagues, right? I suspect. I'm not going to speak for them because I'm not going through it, but it's just human nature, right? Like, oh, my gosh. Do you love it, Willie? Do you love it? No, you don't love it. Who loves
I love getting tested. I love getting tested. It's so much
having
fun.
that Q-tip.
No, but you know what?
That's what you get up to every day.
You know what the
more
frustration.
Woo.
The tough thing, and if I'm feeling this, I know the players triply feel this, right? The prospect of having to miss a game or two or three or four, that's what really bothers you. That's what gives you the anxiety. And you're waiting every day. Is it going to be me that gets tested positive and gets sick, because you're automatically out? Whereas before, you fight through it. If you got a little cold or something like that, you could play. But if you're carrying around a virus that could spread to somebody that could be really vulnerable, that's the dilemma there. But I think what's killing these players is, they're getting tested all the time, twice a day. And the thought of missing some games is a really tough thing.
We'll come back. We'll start with Tim Hasselback to begin the third hour of the program. Congratulations, Jeff Moore. Thanks for listening, and good job being caller number 5. You're gonna get you get to go to the Ryman in January, so enjoy that show. And thanks for listening. I want to talk to you about DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and they've got a gift that will certainly put you in the holiday spirit. All new customers, listen up. All you can do, you can bet $5 on any NBA team, and if they win, you win $150 in free bets. Yeah, that's right. That's how it works. $5 on any team, and if they win in the NBA, you win $150 in free bets. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get in on the Christmas spirit with the holiday free bet surprise. Everyone will get a free bet up to $50 instantly, as DraftKings gives away up to $10 million in prizes. Yes, I said million. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit, withdraw your money anytime you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code 1025GAME, and bet just $5 on any NBA team, and you can win $150 in free bets if they win. That code again, 1025GAME, this Christmas week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and needs help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Alabama.
Young on the move. Touchdown.
Michigan.
Haskins. Touchdown, Michigan.
Georgia.
Nakobe Dean. Goodbye. Touchdown, Georgia.
Cincinnati.
Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Your exclusive home for the 2021 College Football Playoff is
ESPN
1025 The Game, 94.9, and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Shermantown.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 1025 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. Have you heard about those pesky appraisal gaps? We have too. That's why for our buyers, we create a custom appraisal gap analysis. You know what? A strong appraisal gap analysis from MTGRT.com helps prepare your offer for what could be. Let us help you make your dream home a reality. Text me on my cell today at 615-969-2257 or schedule time for us to talk online at MTGRT.com.
The devastating storms across the region have created a monumental need for blood to care for the victims of this tragedy. Now more than ever, find it in your heart to donate blood and help save lives. Blood Assurance is the area's local community blood centers, and they have locations throughout Middle Tennessee, including Clarksville, Cool Springs, and Hermitage. You can go to bloodassurance.org/schedule for information. Give blood, give local, save lives.
Hi, this is Todd Rodermel with the Omni Nashville Hotel. We have a lot to be grateful for this year, and I wanted to personally say thank you to our customers in Nashville and throughout the Middle Tennessee area. We hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game.
I'm bringing hustle back.
Get your sexy on.
We are. Third hour, Darren, Donick, and Chase. Our show is presented by Creation CBD. I said yes, we are ready. Products curated for life. Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, Chase McCabe with you. We say hello and good afternoon to Tim Hasselbeck, who now joins us on the program. Tim, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing better than Julio Jones, and that's where I want to start with this. Do you think this is going to ultimately end his career? This hamstring injury that he, for some reason, can't seem to get past. I mean, it doesn't matter how long he sits, whether it's an entire off season or 4 weeks or whatever it is. I mean, this has been going on for now, 2+ years, the hamstring injury. Is this ultimately going to shorten his career, in your opinion?
Yeah, I could do it. Just to kind of be blunt, I think I've told you guys this story before, but I signed with the Giants, and so I'm, in my, I don't know, I'm either 30 or I'm in my early 30s, and the head trainer is a guy named Ronnie Barnes, and he was with the Giants my father's last year with the Giants. And long story short, my father's career ends, when he's in his early 30s because he pulled his hamstring and couldn't.
Oh, no.
He's in the West Wing.
I'm in the wing. Come on, man. I'm in the. How am I now?
Okay, there you go.
Am I good now? Well,
yeah, you were on a roll and then you went away.
I pulled my hamstring as soon as I got there. Ronnie Barnes said to me, swear to God, first thing he says to me when I go in, I'm like, I pulled my hamstring. And he's like, that ended your dad's career.
Oh.
And I'm like, listen, man, that is not what I wanted to hear as I'm like trying to come back from it. And it's kind of a weird thing where you're like, all right, I've let it heal. I've treated it. I've gotten it stronger, whatever it may be. But then you just get to a point where you continue to redo it. And they're tricky. And you don't know until you kind of open up and run. And being a receiver who, has just continued to re-injure it, I would not feel good about the future of it.
So with that being said, I mean, it seems like, it feels like, and I know it's easy to say this today, but I mean, there's now enough body of work. I just kind of feel like every time we say Pro Bowl receiver, future Hall of Famer, we're just talking about the past that we're never going to see here, right? I mean, we're never going to see Julio Jones. He's never going to be the guy that the Titans hoped they were getting when they traded for him. True?
I think that's more than true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, you look at other guys that ended up places, or just take A.J. Green. Like he has and they're the same age, same draft class. He has been, and it's not been perfect for him, but yeah, he's been a healthier, more productive player this year. And I think that, the risk in terms of thinking, production for either one of those guys would be better next season than their current production in this season. I think it'd be foolish to bank on that.
Do the Saints have like kryptonite? Like what is it where they just own the Bucs in the regular season? 7 straight times they shut out Tom Brady for the first time, I think, in 255 games since 2006. Let's start there. What is it about the Saints that they've had this magic formula or potion where they've been able to get to Tom Brady?
Here's what I think about why the Saints are a good matchup. And in fairness to just this past weekend, right, like Evans is out and Godwin is out and Fournette gets hurt. And, so some of those things happen, which, helped provide a shutout, which, then obviously started to draw even more attention on the lack of success against New Orleans. But New Orleans is good at stopping the run, which, obviously you need to do against them. You think of games where Tampa's just been okay, but they've won the game because they've run the ball well. I think of the Indianapolis Colts game as an example. And then they've got legitimate pass rushers, between Davenport, who was a high pick, who's a very good player, to Cam Jordan. Like, they do a good job rushing the passer. And you even go back to previous years, Hendricks, who's now in Cincinnati, he is an excellent pass rusher. It's like I've always felt like they've got, a bunch of guys that can rush the passer. So if you can stop the run, get into known passing situations, those things are good. And then I'll tell you another thing that I think is a real factor, and it certainly was on Sunday night, is that Malcolm Jenkins was drafted into the NFL as a cornerback. And so even though he's played the majority of his career at safety and he's a really big physical guy, he's got excellent coverage skills. And so I think that he is, as far as matchups with Gronk go, he's about as good as it gets in terms of what you can do in terms of, having one guy play man-to-man on Gronk and do a decent job of holding his own. So I just think there's an element of them matching up personnel-wise well against Tampa.
So now they've learned Chris Godwin, done, torn ACL. But they're getting Antonio Brown back. But what does losing Chris Godwin mean the rest of the way for the Bucs? Is it just a hiccup? Is this a speed bump? I mean, is this something that could do them in? How do you view Godwin being out of the mix now the rest of the way?
I think it could do them in. Godwin, from my vantage point, was their best receiver. And I would say that's best receiver in terms of his versatility, his speed, his run after the catch, ability to move him and have him play inside as well as have him play outside. And then I'll give you another one that is not really that. I don't know that it's talked about that much, but his versatility and his willingness in the run game as a blocker is almost comparable to the impact that Gronkowski has in their run game. And Collinsworth talked about it a little bit, during the Sunday night game about, Arians rewarding Godwin because, he's doing a lot of the dirty work in the run game in terms of the receivers. And so they throw him the wide receiver screens and stuff to reward him. But there was I think it was a fourth down play. It was either third and one, fourth and one. I think it was a fourth and one where they go for it. Tampa does. And Godwin was out at this point, and Tampa doesn't get it. And the reason they don't get it is it's actually a bust by the receiver Johnson, who's in the game in replacement for Chris Godwin, and he doesn't go block the right guy.
Oh, I think that was the Keyshawn Vaughn run, wasn't it?
Was it Vaughn who was in the game at that point?
I think it was Vaughn, yeah.
Well, if you get a chance to go back and look at it, it's because 18, Johnson, who's in the game for 14, Godwin, doesn't block the right guy. And there are elements of that type of stuff where it's like, I think he's that valuable to the football team.
It was interesting, and I brought this up yesterday on the show. Chris Collinsworth, and you could tell he was trying to be careful, but really wanted to talk about this, and you may know where I'm going with this. It was right after the Godwin play, and this is, of course, well before, they don't have any idea he's torn his ACL, but Collinsworth was, as a former receiver, talking about, where are these guys? They tell you don't hit high. Now they're going low, and he's like, man, if you talk to enough of these players, they would prefer you go high than you go low. And like I said, you could tell he was trying to massage and be delicate, but also really wanted to say, man, I don't know if this is such a good idea that there's so much emphasis about not going high because this is now what you're going to get. Did you catch him? Did you hear him say that?
Yeah.
And what did you think?
He's right. And I've talked to guys just like he's talked to guys. To a man, they would all rather get hit up high. And look, nobody wants to get a concussion. Nobody wants, to be, to have brain damage. Okay, that's not what Collinsworth is saying.
Right.
That's not what That's not what guys want. Okay, but if you're Chris Godwin, okay, who's playing on a franchise tag, who's about to make life-changing money, for, probably in some cases like generational wealth, in terms of playing on the tag this year and the deal he's about to get. Would you rather get hit up high and get knocked out and miss a week, 2 weeks, maybe miss no time, maybe miss a month, maybe you've got a Adam Humphries situation and it's worse than you ever could have imagined. Would you rather that, or would you rather a nearly year-long recovery to rehab from an ACL with no assurances that you're going to be able to make a full recovery? That's the dilemma. And I'm not saying it's right that most players would rather have the concussion, but and maybe it's an element of, look, we need to protect players from themselves because they're thinking about the next 10 years, not the next 30 years. But that's just the reality of how players today think, because Chris Godwin now has entered into free agency with way more uncertainty. His value has probably decreased, and there's no assurances that he'll make a full recovery.
Tim Hasselbeck is with us. Tim, I've been looking over the 49ers all morning, and I'll tell you what, if you look at different sites and different stats, you kind of wonder why they're only 8-6. They're really coming on. I feel like they're still a little bit under the radar. And so would you agree? First and foremost,
I completely agree. That's a team that not going to win their division, but can they go to Dallas and beat Dallas? Can they go to Arizona and beat Arizona? I think there's a lot of what they do to that it would make you like them and make you. Could they go to Green Bay and surprise people? I think they do a lot of things really well that are going to be hard for whoever they play.
So let's go to the top then and see what you think of how Garoppolo has been playing, because he's got this reputation ever since the Super Bowl. It seems like they've kind of wanted to get rid of him, but to me, his numbers look pretty good. So what are they doing right there, and how much can he elevate them?
Well, here's what I would say. I think that I think the hardest thing for Garoppolo has been staying healthy. It's not like Garoppolo hasn't had good moments, right? It took a team to a Super Bowl, and you can say, Jared Goff did as well, and there are flaws in what he does. Sure, all that's true. I don't think anybody's saying that Jimmy Garoppolo is Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or any of those guys. But can you win with him? He's proved in his career that you can win with him. His big issue has been he really hasn't been healthy. I look at the Cincinnati game he played a couple weeks ago, where he threw it 41 times. He was awesome in that game, and it was a close game. He made a lot of really good plays. Now, he had a mistake at the end of the game that could have cost them, and it didn't. And so I think that, there are elements of that where people look at it and go, oh, well, how much can you trust him? But with a really good defense, a good run game, excellent coaching in terms of play calling and things like that, I don't know. I look at that team as a team that's are they perfect? No. But that's not a walk in the park no matter who they play in the postseason, even on the road, because of the fact that what they do will travel.
Yeah, and that's the concern for the Titans, as they still are trying to get the pieces back. Hopefully they get A.J. Brown back. But tell me about Deebo Samuel, because they figured out something. It looks like it's happening around the league a little bit, where people are thinking outside the box. I see with Cordero Patterson. Let's take a guy who's a wide receiver, but let's sort of make him a hybrid running back. So tell me what you're seeing with Samuel.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's some of these guys that, for whatever the reason, they were, it probably started in high school where, there was maybe somebody bigger than them that was playing running back. And so they, even though they were kind of better off playing receiver. And, I remember when I was at Washington, I played with Lavernius Coles. Well, Lavernius Coles was amazing once he touched the ball. Now, he was playing receiver, but he played tailback in college. And truthfully, he could have been a running back if he wanted to be. And so I think there are guys, and Cordero Patterson's a little bit different because he's so much taller. But when you look at Deebo Samuel, when you look at the way people have, used some of these touch passes to get guys, on the perimeter, or jet sweeps, or, designed, wide receiver perimeter screens, all of those things, truthfully, are just an extension of your run game. And I think that, what they've done a good job of in San Francisco is they've said, all right, well, can we run him with maybe some window dressing. It's not, just a I formation. We're running a lead ISO play. Can we get some misdirection runs going with him where it's just a matter of him catching the seam? And they've been able to do that. And he's a really, really dangerous player. And the challenge ends up being, because of his versatility, many teams like to match personnel. Well, how do you treat him? And I think you have to treat him as a wide receiver, but it kind of messes things up when he lines up in the backfield.
We're talking to Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst. And Tim, looking at the Titans offense as they go to take on San Francisco, I mean, we saw it put up 13 points in the loss to the Steelers. They had 4 turnovers, and that's been the Achilles heel for them. They turn the ball over. They're not winning these games. But what do you want to see if A.J. Brown's back? What do you want to see Todd Downing do a little bit differently to try and open up this offense a little bit?
I think that there's got to be something where you're like, they can hang their hat on this. I did a tape for SportsCenter this week, and it revolved around that drive this past week, Chase, that I think it was 1st and goal from the 4. They had all 3 timeouts left, and it was before the half. And so 1st and goal from the 4, the way the offense was constructed before, I think we would all agree that there was a likelihood that you would have had at least 1 run, maybe 2, in that environment, especially with all your timeouts. Well, you look back at what they did, they didn't throw it a single time. They took a sack and ended up kicking a field goal. So, I think there are elements of, them trying to find their way of, okay, what is our identity right now offensively with the personnel that we have? And so, in terms of A.J. Brown being back, I think part of the identity would have to be, getting him as many touches as he can on the move, because he's good once the ball's in his hands and he's on the move. So not stuff where he's stationary, not stuff where he's coming back at the quarterback, but stuff where he's on the move. And then I think the thing they did a good job of last week, especially earlier in the game, is on a couple of, short yardage situations, they were different than they've been in the past because of their personnel. One of them was a Tannehill run for a 1st down. Another one, was a run out of the shotgun, a kind of a zone read type of run. And so I think, what do you want to see them do? I think you want to see them do things that show some type of, evolution or transition from, what they were doing and doing them well. And so that to me ends up being the thing, because I think there were elements of them doing things differently in that goal line sequence I described, but there's also like a 2nd down play where, they throw a stick route to Westbrook-Akina, and he just goes to the ground for the ball when he can probably catch it, stay on his feet, and potentially break a tackle and end up in the end zone. So I think those are the things. You're not going to reinvent yourself, but you do need to kind of find things that you can do that you weren't doing prior to losing Derrick Henry.
So let me preface this by saying, I mean, we've talked to you about Tannehill, and even when Henry was healthy and you had Brown, I mean, there were still things he just didn't look the same. Like he was making some mistakes, and it could have been different offensive coordinator or all those things. But do you view him as maybe this year's Jared Goff in a sense of that saw a lot of good things with Arthur Smith, but then he kind of got figured out and then he's regressed?
See, I don't. Now, and I'm sure that if, you're able to talk to him about, things that he wishes he has back, I mean, I'm sure there are elements of being able to protect the ball better that, he would acknowledge that he maybe do them differently. Here's the way I think I see it, and I feel like I've talked the last couple weeks about Dak Prescott and the slump that he's in and how he's playing. And I think there's these expectations for quarterbacks, especially once they get paid, that, every game's going to be perfect. And when things change around them like that, hey, that's okay. like they're going to overcome all of the changes around them. And I just don't think that that's a reality in the NFL. Like, I don't. Like, Dak Prescott, for example, the last few weeks haven't been great. I think a lot of it has to do with the guys around him. And I think the same thing goes for Ryan Tannehill. But he's got a fumbled quarterback center exchange. I didn't get a good look at it, but I would love to know kind of what that was about, because there's a good chance it's not on the quarterback. The Ferkser fumble, that's not on the quarterback. And so I think when those things happen, stuff just gets compounded. The offense struggles. You find yourself in a bad spot. And quarterback ultimately is still a very dependent position. And so that's where I think Tannehill is. And I think he's still a really good player. I don't think anyone got anything wrong. I just think the environment around him has been one that's hard to be successful in.
Quarterback apologist.
Now, you know what's funny is, listen,
I agree with Tim.
But here's the thing, and it's funny, like the quarterback apologist thing. There are times, like when I say it about certain guys, when it's like, but like I put it, just let's take Tannehill out of it, so it's not a local thing, and here we are. Go look at Dak Prescott. I put a tape together on the guys playing poorly around Dak Prescott this past week. Now, Dak did not have his greatest game against Washington the prior week. But this past week, CeeDee Lamb had 4 drops, like 4 really bad drops. They were running some perimeter screens where, like, Dalton Schultz just whiffs on the guy that he's blocking on the perimeter, and so now it's an incomplete pass because, Gallup can't catch it, and it's getting spit out, and then you get a situation where the offensive line has a bust up front, and then like before you know it, you kind of have like 10 plays like that in a game, and you look at the quarterback's performance, and you're like, yeah, you know what, he wasn't great, and it's like that might be kind of true, but again, it's still a dependent position, and so I just think that that's been the case for Ryan more than, hey, he's just been bad. And I think you can go through and look at it and look at the changes around him, and it's not like, we're making that stuff up.
Oh, I look, I believe all that to be true, but I also say it's the position. They get all the praise, and then they also get all the criticism. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I think they get overpraised because, as we've talked about.
You're right.
Right?
No doubt. But yes, listen, that is absolutely true, okay? That is absolutely true. But I would say this. How many quarterbacks do you think there are in the league that's like, listen, who cares their environment? They are going to they can be successful no matter what's around them.
There's a handful. That's it.
Maybe not even a full handful. Like you might get 3. I mean, so name them. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers for one.
Yep.
Number 1.
Mahomes.
Right? Mahomes, number 2.
Yep.
Tom Brady's got to be in there. I mean, he's got to be.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
3.
We'll put Brady in there. Listen. In fairness to putting Brady in there, because he's a passer only, the guys around him got to be good. But I'll put him in there. That's fine. Okay. So we got 3.
I think that this is not good timing, but I think his career speaks for itself. I think Russell Wilson is a guy that elevates everybody around him. He's been able to do
was at one point.
more with less.
At one point.
So do you think he's regressing?
I do. I think I do.
Okay.
But I don't think we can put him in that category now.
Okay.
Right? I mean, listen, Russell Wilson is not going to be in Seattle next year, and there are a lot of reasons why. So, I don't think that we can put him in that category.
If Deshaun Watson was playing, I think we would have him in that category.
That's fair. That's fair, and I would agree. He's not playing, but yeah, so that would get us to 4.
Yeah. I was counting on Russell Wilson, so you say no. Okay. I'm not ready to go with Herbert. I know some people would say Herbert. I'm not ready to go there yet. I think there's some guys that are really, really close, but they got to do more, right, for me to put them with that group.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And so when you look at that and you're like, well, look, wait a second. Like, here's the deal. Like, that's not, the reality of those types of players and, what you're getting is like, there aren't, the half the league isn't made up of guys like that. Not even close. Not even a third of the league is made up of guys like that. And so what you're trying to do is find a guy that can play winning football. And I think that there's that next group of guys where you're like, yeah, this guy can play winning football. And that's what we need him to do. And that's why, quite honestly, he's paid like a starter. So whether it's Cousins or whether it's Tannehill or, guys like that where you're like, yeah, he can play winning football. And so I just think that that's the reality of the quarterback position. And I think it has been pretty much forever.
Okay, so last thing, I'm going to put you on the spot. I think when you look at the Colts and the Titans, I think there are more similarities than we want to believe. I think when you go down, up and down, whether it's the two head coaches, them running the football, things they do, they kind of mirror each other. They really do. And quite honestly, part of that equation, and this is where I'm going with this, their quarterbacks are kind of the same too. Like, their quarterbacks need help. They're not the elite that we were just talking about. They need help, but they're good. Everybody believes you can win with them when everything is right. So with that being said, who would you take, Wentz or Tannehill?
I would take Tannehill.
Really?
I think Tannehill's a better player under pressure than Wentz is. And Wentz has done a nice job of protecting the ball this year. But I think that if we're just going to look at this season and how guys played, I think there's the amount of help and support around the quarterback play, again, being a dependent position. I don't think there's any question that the guys around the quarterback have played significantly better in Indianapolis than they've played in Tennessee. And I think that the quarterback, statistics and production, have reflected that, not because the quarterback play has elevated the play around them. I think the play around the quarterback has elevated the quarterback.
Good stuff as always. Appreciate the visit. Merry Christmas to you and the family, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Merry Christmas to you guys. See ya.
Merry Christmas, Tim.
That's Tim Hasselbeck. Really good stuff from him. We'll come back and discuss that on the other side because I do think the Titans and the Colts, who both have humongous games this week, it doesn't get any bigger. And, oh, by the way, both of them play before Sunday, so it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. They kind of mirror each other when you go up and down, just checking the boxes. It's kind of scary. We'll discuss on the other side, but first, a word about Lee Company.
All right, let's talk Lee Company. Lee Company, 615-567-1000. That's the phone number to call. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Lee Company is a great sponsor of Nashville Predators hockey. You hear them all the time when we cover the team or when you go down to Smashville and watch the club play. They also have a great array of services. I'm going to mention today the home maintenance plan. It's always something that we benefit from in our household. We've had it for several years where we know we're on that rotation. Every year we get the call about the heating unit. Every year we get the call about our air conditioning. They come out and they check it, plus our plumbing, plus our electric. So you get those annual checkups. You make sure everything in your house is running fine. And if you do need some repairs, you can plan for that, and you also get discounts on it. That's the best part of paying the small monthly fee of the home maintenance plan. Check into it at Lee Company, 615-567-1000, or go online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, proud sponsor Nashville Predators. Let their decades of expertise go to work for you.
Quarterback sneak, and that's a Tennessee touchdown. It's a quick turnaround for the Titans as they look to get back in their winning ways Thursday night against the 49ers.
There's guys out there competing, working, and fighting for each other.
We'll get you set up all week.
You've got to be able to throw the ball down the field to keep a defense honest.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Still working on that Christmas list? Hurry into Electronic Express for your last-minute gifts. Get huge savings with up to 50% off in every department. 4K TVs, computers, gaming, speakers and headphones, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Get up to 40% off all your appliance needs. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. We've got the last-minute Christmas gifts you need at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Music City Man Cave Luxury Men's Grooming is not your everyday nail salon. They specialize in custom hand and foot treatments for men only. As Nashville's first and only all-male hand and foot spa, they curate healthy, solution-oriented manicures and pedicures designed especially for men. From their comfortable environment, aromas, and overall focus on your self-care, everything is designed to make men feel comfortable. Book your appointment today by calling 615-975-2201 or online at musiccitymancave.com. Refining the confidence in men. Luxury grooming, man cave feeling.
Due to overwhelming response, Genesis Diamond's amazing holiday finance offer has been extended. Now through Christmas Eve, you can enjoy 5 years, 0 interest on any holiday purchase. Everyone's loving this because it makes it easy to splurge this holiday season. A $6,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $100 a month with nothing down. You can even include the sales tax. At Genesis, we have all the most popular gifts: rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, pearls, and a spectacular selection of designer jewelry you won't find anywhere else. Names like Tacori, Verragio, Kirk Cara, unique, one-of-a-kind, fashion-forward designs. So let our non-commissioned diamond experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Get the guaranteed best Genesis price, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Make this one unforgettable Christmas with help from Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Alabama versus Cincinnati.
Leonard Taylor, touchdown Cincinnati.
Michigan versus Georgia.
To the end zone, Kearis Jackson has got it.
Your exclusive home for the college football playoff semifinals on New Year's Eve is
ESPN
102.5 The Game, 94.9, and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Shermantown.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Back here on the DDC on this Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday. What should people do during the 6 o'clock hour tomorrow, Chase?
Chase is unavailable at the moment.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Well, you can listen to Smashville Live. That'll be aired on these airwaves during the 6 o'clock hour. It happens.
It's a great show.
Wednesday. Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah, you seem like you're out of breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of guests? Who's going to be on there tomorrow? Who should people get excited about?
It's so big, it's a surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, doesn't
Everybody
get any
loves
bigger.
surprises.
Doesn't get any bigger build up than that, folks. Tomorrow night during the 6 o'clock hour, surprise.
Yep.
Smashville Live.
Hey, remember the time you said you never know?
I remember it well.
Yeah. It could be that.
Do you remember what happened after the next day?
Yes. I was walking into I remember that vividly. So, Willie, I think this was before you were on the show, and Darren and I were cutting the promo after the show, and we hadn't figured out, exactly what we were going to do yet. And so he cuts the promo. He goes, we'll have some big things. You never know, or something like that.
You never know what's going to happen.
And I'm walking into the building the next morning, and Darren calls me, and I answer. I go, hey, what's up? And he goes, the Titans just fired Ken Wisenhunt, and that became the day. Like that was the day. That was a story. So
I said you never know. There you go.
But you didn't know at the time that's what it was going to be.
Did I? Did I not know?
No, I don't think you knew.
You know? You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Remember, I had a direct line to all things Ken Wisenhunt when he was here. It was quick. It was short.
He was your buddy, too.
Yeah. He was everybody's buddy. Didn't come out much, did he? Didn't come out and play well with others.
I remember one interview with you, though.
Yeah, we're at the Bridgestone Arena.
In particular, he got very spirited.
Yeah. He didn't like anything that wasn't a fluff question.
No.
He didn't deal with that very well. Kind of like he didn't deal with games after opening day. After the opening week, he wasn't good with the other 15 games. He was good with the first one. Just the other 15 gave him problems. Smash Show Live is brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. So I was thinking about the Titans and the Colts last night. And, man, it's kind of eerie how similar they are, right? What is the Colts' absolute strength?
Running the ball.
Running the ball. No question. Right?
JT.
No hesitation. What is the Titans' strength?
Running the ball.
Mm-hmm. How would you assess these two head coaches when you look around the landscape of the league? Upper tier, middle of the pack, lower tier? What would you say?
I'd say top third.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're both very good.
Both top tier, right? Top tier coaches, head coaches.
Yep.
Both of them have that go-to receiver. And I don't really know what T.Y. Hilton is. So they both kind of have a 1-2, right? They got to have a Pittman and a Hilton. And the Titans, I don't know. It's not the greatest.
Not the greatest.
If they were in there, Brown and Jones, right?
On paper.
But they've never had that. They've had that for about a half of one game.
Right. But on paper, it would be great.
Because they both have a 1-2 that they would go to.
But T.Y.'s been hurt too, so
T.Y.'s hurt a lot too, right? The Colts have a better tight end. They've got better tight ends, so they're better in that.
Yes, they have one.
Okay, how about the offensive lines? How would you assess that?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I know one doesn't protect the quarterback very well.
Yeah,
I don't watch the Colts enough to be able to tell you. I think they've gotten better in that area. I thought early in the season early in the season the Colts had a lot of problems on the offensive line. They have the most money invested in the offensive line that any team does.
I would give the.
So they have an overall good offensive line.
Yeah, I would give the edge to the Colts.
They typically get praised a lot for their offensive line. Right, so probably the edge goes to the Colts. Check mark goes to the Colts. What about the defense?
Both pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say both. I think that one's you're splitting hairs.
I think they're equal footing there.
I think that's pretty close. I mean, maybe Colts get again.
I think
slight check mark, maybe. Pencil?
Well, the Colts have had more injuries. The Colts have had big injury problems on their defense earlier in the season, which is getting a little bit better now.
Yep, Nelson has been banged up.
They have some very good players, but
not Nelson. Not Nelson. Their linebacker, Quentin. I'm not Quentin Nelson. I'm drawing blanks on the linebacker, 53.
Oh, Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard. Jeez, yeah. Leonard's been banged up a lot this year.
Been featured a lot in Hard Knocks.
But he's in there though.
He's
in there now.
He's their captain. He's definitely running the show.
I think the difference with the Colts is they have a true, by definition, game wrecker on defense and DeForest Buckner.
Okay, but do they? Okay. So what is this? Where is agreed? Where is Buckner? Where is Simmons?
Simmons, I feel like there is still another rung up the ladder for him.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. But I'm waiting for week in and week out for you to go, that guy, like he's gonna wreck this game. Like he is,
and Buckner
he's gonna take
do
it
that.
over.
To your point, Buckner is that guy. He is every week he is a game wrecker.
Like you are watching out for 99.
Yep.
We'll just give you the numbers from Football Outsiders. Indianapolis has the 8th most efficient defense, Tennessee 13th. So not much difference.
So that's what we thought, right? But about the same. And then you get to the quarterbacks. Wentz, Tannehill. They're a lot alike, are they not?
They're similar. That's
right.
For sure.
I think they're basically, the same type of quarterback. I mean, You can win with them, but a lot of things have to go your way. Sometimes you don't always trust them. They make mistakes. Obviously, I think Tannehill is a lot more. He's more mobile, I think, than Wentz. Don't you think?
Yes.
Today, like
Wentz
Wentz
is pretty mobile, but
no, he
I
was
think
until he
Tannehill
got
is more
hurt.
mobile.
I think once he got hurt, right, he started getting hurt. I think he's been less apt to take off and do as much running as he used to do, maybe?
Well, let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers.
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill doesn't run very often, but when he does, he's extremely efficient.
He's extremely efficient. Yep.
And I think that's something that we've all sort of asked ourselves is, should you risk and actually have him run a little bit more? But the problem is when you do that, you cannot afford to get him hurt. But he's only rushed 38 times for 248 yards, but his efficiency is the second best, or right up there, top 3 in the NFL. He just hasn't run it as much as some of the other guys. I'm looking at Wentz, 38 rushes, same amount for 190 yards. So not nearly as efficient, but capable. I would say Tannehill is
that's
quite
what
a
I'm
bit
saying.
better.
I think he's taken off less because of his injuries. He's been hit enough. I think
he's not as fast. He's not as fast.
No, he's not as good of a runner. But I also think the injuries.
He's a good athlete.
Maybe he's a little skittish now. He's not as interested at this point in his career as maybe he was at the beginning stages of his career. I think that's the best way to put it.
I mean, if you're making me pick between the two, though, I still would take Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
I would still take him over Wentz.
As a runner or overall?
Overall.
No, overall. I knew the three of us would lean toward Tannehill. That's why I wanted to ask Tim, because I didn't know exactly where he would go. And I would be curious, like, if we asked enough national people, outsiders' view, people outside of the two markets, I wonder what they would say.
I
thought Tim made a great Tim I thought gave a great answer on the circumstance. I think I would put both of these quarterbacks in the category of if you put them in a good position to succeed, then I think they can succeed. And I think Tannehill's already proven how good his numbers can look if he's got the things in place around him. But it's been so challenging for him with the protection and basically, and we went down the list of the journeymen that he's got to work with right now at every single skill position. The highest paid skill position guy with Julio Jones out of the mix is Anthony Ferkser. And he's an undrafted guy that's a great story to get to where he is, and he's having a down year after doing, some pretty good things last year. Now, hopefully A.J. Brown changes that. That's their only hope, really, until they get Derrick Henry back. But for them to go anywhere, they've got to have A.J. Brown. For Carson Wentz, I think the same can be said. He's got to have Pittman do his thing to make him look good, right? He's got to have that running game. He's got to have Pittman. Then if you do that, then he's got a chance to be successful.
Yeah, which is basically that's what I'm saying. They're the same. Like it's you need a lot of things around them working because they're the same type of quarterback. They are. They're almost exactly the same, even though we would lean slightly towards Tannehill. But it's just such a razor's edge. It's interesting because you have to have these things, and if you don't have, and it goes to show you, and Indianapolis would struggle too. If Jonathan Taylor went out of the lineup, they would struggle too. I mean, they just would. They would not look the same, and it just goes to show
how about
you
him and Pittman.
Well,
what if you took him and Pittman out?
Of course.
What would he look like?
That's the point. Like this, and I realize it's stopped. But all this talk that we had about Tannehill needs to get more. It's like just stop it. Like Tannehill is just a byproduct of the pieces around him. That's it. Stop trying to make him more than what he is. I think people were trying to make him more than what he was for like the last year.
But a lot of people.
Not everybody. A lot of people. He needs more credit.
Because
we don't talk about Tannehill. People were saying Tannehill for MVP.
I know, but I can remember us having the conversation on this show of he's solid and he can win you a Super Bowl with the right pieces around him, with the right supporting cast. He can do it, but just asking him to do it by himself, he can't. He's just that's
right.
not
But
him.
how many people can? That was Tim's retort.
Right.
Is that I'm not sure you could come up with a list of 5. So I don't think that's huge news that he's not Aaron Rodgers. But I think he has been put in extremely difficult circumstances, which has definitely affected how he's had to try to play.
No, he hasn't been put in extreme difficulty. The only extreme difficult
he hasn't put in
circumstance
extreme difficulty.
No. The only difference
Are you
is he
kidding
doesn't
me?
have. No, I'm not kidding you. He does. The only difference he does not have the king. That's what he doesn't have. That's
No,
the
he doesn't have the King and A.J. Brown and Julio Jones.
Derrick Henry is what makes everything tick. Everything. Don't make no mistake about it. Derrick Henry is the reason all this stuff worked because he didn't have all these great targets last year. Don't act like he had all these great targets and he's had all these incredible weapons. No. Derrick Henry is what changes the dynamic of everything.
Of course he does. But it's
everything.
Also, if he had A.J. Brown and Julio Jones healthy the whole year, his numbers would look a lot better.
We're about to find out.
If you didn't have Henry.
Because
Even if you didn't have Henry.
If AJ's in the lineup and AJ can be, good, then we're about to find out if AJ Brown makes a difference or if what Darren is saying
we know
is
he makes
100%
a difference.
true.
He's a very, very good NFL wide receiver, and the replacements for him are not. They're all journeymen. They all make around the league minimum. They are who they are. They're role players that are scrappy overachievers, but they do not move the needle.
Let me ask you this, Darren, because you were leading the Brady train a couple of years ago. If you take
hard,
big time, if you take him right now today, on December 21st, and you put him on this team, what does it look like with the current pieces that they have?
With NWI,
yep,
with Chester Rogers, Dontrell Hilliard, Deontay Foreman, Jeremy McNichols, Anthony Ferkser, Cody Hollister, Racey McMath. You're telling me he could elevate that lineup and look like Tom Brady?
No, Gronk.
It's an unfair question because if he was here,
no,
Gronk
it's not.
would
That's
be
exactly
here.
what that's exactly the circumstances that Ryan Tannehill is under.
He would be better. The answer is they would be better. Tom Brady is.
No, you're saying that. No, we're talking about he would have the same exact players around him in these circumstances.
Yep.
Brady would be better.
Yes,
he can't move
100%
with the pass protection that the Titans have.
100%.
Really.
100%.
Who's he throwing to?
100% better. Who did he throw to in New England? Who were his star running backs in New England? It was a committee his entire career. He didn't have great receivers
he had an
this particular
he had an
Titans
offensive
team,
line, though.
They can't protect the quarterback. They can't protect
guys
the quarterback.
are elite because the guys at the elite different level than everybody else know how to get rid of the football. I've said this a million times. The Colts didn't always have the best offensive line with Peyton Manning. The Saints didn't always have the best offensive line with Drew Brees. And the New England Patriots didn't always have the best offensive line with Tom Brady. The reason that they get praised is because those dudes and Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they know how to get rid of the ball, and they know what's coming. They're different than everybody else. That's
we're talking
the difference.
But I'm asking
this
right now.
particular group with this group of personnel. You cannot tell me Brady would elevate this group.
I'm telling
the way he
you,
is right now.
If you
No
go
way.
back and rewind that, well, you can say no way all you want, and I'll say
Well,
way.
They
so
scored
you
zero.
say no way.
Tom Brady's
I'll say
team
way.
scored 0 points on Sunday night.
And
Let me
it was
tell
because
you,
They lost their key guys. They lost their key guys around him.
On this show, if you go back and talk about the week leading up to that New England playoff game, how many times did I say that team around him is garbage? You know what that team was? That team was the Cleveland Cavs whenever LeBron took them to the finals, and everybody's going, how in the world is this team in the NBA Finals? It was LeBron and everybody else. Tom Brady, that team was garbage. You put any other quarterback other than the other elite ones in the league on that roster is a 5-11 team, probably a 4-12 team that year. Tom
They had the
Brady,
number one
that team
defense
was
in the league.
garbage.
They have the number one defense in the league.
Garbage on offense. He had
again,
no weapons
struggles on
whatsoever.
offense, no question.
No, they were garbage on offense. He had no one to throw to.
I'll guarantee you they had much more. They had guys that made more than the league minimum around him. That's right now. That's what Ryan Tannehill has around him in skill positions. Everybody makes the league minimum. There's not a single high draft pick. Most of the guys are practice squad guys, and a lot of them weren't drafted at all. That's what they're dealing with right now.
That team won 12.
A.J. Brown has got to.
That Patriots team won 12 games.
But I'm not asking about Tom Brady then.
And
I'm asking about Tom Brady
on
now.
Offense. Yeah. Well,
I'm asking about Tom Brady today.
Okay, but that was 2 years ago.
Well,
yeah,
okay, a lot changes for a 44-year-old guy in 2 years.
He won a Super Bowl in between those 2 years.
Right, because he had Godwin and he had Evans and he had Gronk and he had Fournette and all the players around him and a great offensive line.
And what he has right now today with Brown coming back, he still has Gronk, who's not 100%, but when is he ever? That's better than what he would have here. And they scored 0 points the other night.
I think it's hilarious that now Tampa's got a great offensive line. The year before, when they won 8 games, Jameis Winston got killed. Same offensive line. What's the difference?
No, not true. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
they used
so
the first-round pick for an offensive line.
That's
yes.
it. That guy, that changed
really,
everything.
It's more than one.
Oh.
Yeah, you can overhaul an offensive line.
Now
in
the
1
greatest
year.
offensive line in the league. A rookie lineman.
Take a look at the ratings of the offensive line.
Okay.
It's improved dramatically.
Our texts are funny.
We'll agree to disagree. There's no way you're going to tell me that it would look exactly the same with the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game. There's no way. You want to say no way? Fine. I'm going to say way. Just like I did that entire offseason and said the Titans should go get Tom Brady. And I'm not changing my mind. And we're never going to know the answer. But there's no way you can tell me Tom Brady couldn't make the Titans this offense look different with the same pieces. There's just no way. You can convince me. Because you're now telling me Tom Brady and Ryan Tannehill are the same guy. And they're not. They're not even close. Not even close. No, you are saying that. You're saying if Tom Brady could come in, he's not going to do. It's not going to look any different. You're telling me they're the same guy, and I'm telling you they're not. And it's not. And we all know that. So there's no way that I'm going to sit here and say, no, they are. If you're telling me that it's not going to be any different, they are.
Well, I didn't. I'm asking the question. I didn't answer it. I'm asking you two the question. And Keith wants to know if, because it's Porce last week, if he asked you guys to argue more, which was really funny. But no, I think it would be a tick better, but I still think that Tom Brady he wouldn't look like the Tom Brady in New England 5 years ago.
I don't think Tom Brady. I don't think Tom Brady would stay upright. I think he'd be hurt by now. The way they protected the quarterback.
The thing with those Patriots teams that helped tremendously was the O-line. He had time. And yes, to your point, he can manipulate the pocket better than anybody, but he had time to throw the football.
He dinked and dunked. He knows how to get rid of the ball. That's the difference. He didn't have a great but it's not about a great offensive line. They know how to get rid of the ball. They know what's coming. That's the difference.
Who does he have here to dink and dunk to?
Who did he have in New England that he was dinking and dunking to that year?
Gronk.
That year?
Well,
was it Gronk?
James White.
Gronk was retired.
James White's one of the best dink and dunk running back as receivers as there's been in a long time. He's always been good.
Yeah. How's he looked since Brady left?
You had Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Jules.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you take those guys, Gronk, Edelman, and James White, over Chester Rogers, Anthony Ferkster, Cody Hollister, and NWI?
Hell
yes. No way.
Oh, okay.
I'd roll with those guys for sure.
Yeah.
Group B.
I said hell yes. Just for the record.
I mean, you really want me to answer? I mean, come on. No, let's not waste everybody's time with that
That's
question.
what he's dealing with right now. That's what Ryan Tannehill is trying to make it work with right now.
Okay.
Hopefully it gets
Josh
better.
Reynolds helping him, but he doesn't have them anymore. He's in Detroit.
Yep.
Josh from White House. Darren brought the special Christmas cookies today. I don't know what that means, but okay.
I don't either, but I would like a cookie. Christmas cookies are good. Very good. We're going to come back and go to San Fran. We're going to learn a little bit more about the opponent that's going to be here on Thursday. How good is this 49ers team? They've won 5 of their last 6. Everybody thinks right now this is a dangerous team. We'll find out if our guest agrees and why on the other side. But right now I'm going to talk to you about my friends at Cool Springs MD. You've heard me talk about them for years because they've been helping me for years become healthier and happier. And who doesn't want that? I know I do, which is why I've been going there. They've helped improve my quality of life. And as we get older, that gets tougher. And they focus in on a lot of things that we all have to deal with as adults, like weight loss management, right? It's just a struggle that we'll always have as adults. There's just going to be times whenever you've just tacked on some unwanted pounds that you would love to shed. Well, they've got programs and products and people that can get you back on track and headed in the right direction. Rejuvenation, your appearance is important, and it's challenging. It's tough as we get older. Well, their staff can sit down with you and talk about PRP, hair removal, Botox, and finally hormone therapy. You ever had your levels checked? Do you know that they tend to dip when you get older? Sometimes they can dip to all-time lows, which could affect your drive, could affect your energy, could affect your mood. Maybe you've just been feeling really off lately and you're wondering what the heck's going on. Well, they'll be more than happy to discuss BHRT, testosterone, estrogen. They do it all. These are just some of the things they do at that state-of-the-art facility in Cool Springs at 1642 Westgate Circle. If you want to learn everything about them, just go to their website, coolspringsmd.com, or you can always pick up the phone and schedule an appointment or consultation by dialing this number, 615-283-7291. That's 283-7291.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Should start to see skies clearing out from west to east this afternoon as temperatures head to the upper 40s and lower 50s. Cool times return tomorrow.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22 ticks.
The great Persian poet Rumi once said, either bring me more wine or leave me alone. Truly a wise man if you ask me. When it comes to wine this holiday season, the only place I'll be jingling my cowbells is Red Spirits and Wine. Red's simply got the coolest selection, the best prices, and a holly jolly crew that's always friendly and makes great recommendations without ever acting like some of those pontificating snooty toots that you run into at a lot of places. I love the wine so much at Red that I sometimes forget to mention all of the great Red Barrel Select bourbons, single malt scotches, tequila, mezcal. Heck, Red's got it all to lift your spirits. Not to mention an awesome 16-tap beer growler stationed with 3 nice cigar humidors where you can lasso up some of the finest smokes. Red Spirits and Wine is your one-stop shop for the holidays, and don't forget, Red's got gift cards too. Red Spirits and Wine is open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant to catch the next Preds game. Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area. Plus they offer free parking. That's right, free parking on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottle domestics. So come on down to Jasper's next game day for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day on Sundays. Just tell them that Robbie Stanley sent you.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Make Smoke Token the only stop for your holiday shopping. Offering the largest selection of smoking products and accessories, we are the only place you need to go. Located in Nashville and Murfreesboro, Smoke Token is here and ready to help. Mention this commercial for 15% off your purchase.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Donick, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Fourth and final hour here on this Tuesday afternoon. Darren, Donick, and Chase. Titans, 49ers. Nissan Stadium Thursday evening. A big one in town. Let's head out west. Let's learn a little bit about this team that's coming to town that's won 5 out of their last 6 games. Bonte Hill, 95-7 The Game out in San Fran now joins us. Bonte, how you doing?
What's up? What's going on, fellas?
Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. I'll do anything for you guys out in Nashville. Come on now. Try to get out there. I wish I was coming to Nashville for the holidays, man.
Not coming? No?
Nah. Got this team called the Golden State Warriors I got to do work for, so they got some things cooking, man. Thursday against the Memphis Grizzlies, and then Saturday against Christmas. But I got to get out to Nashville. Ever since I saw the NFL draft kind of take place there and looking at the town, man, and for some reason Nashville out of nowhere the last 5 years has become this destination to where people just want to go have fun. I'm like, man, I need to get in on that.
Really? Man. Who are you talking to? We haven't heard that. So people are coming here to drink and party? Really?
You guys sound depressed out there, man. What's going on? Now it seems like a great time walking in brick off the bridge at Nissan Stadium. I mean, I'd never been a Titans fan before, but, it is what it is.
So what's going on with this 49ers team? About 7 weeks ago, we're like, cool, 49ers late in the season. That should be pretty, well, I wouldn't say easy, but that should be a dub for the Titans. And now everything's changed. What's changed for San Fran?
Well, what's changed is basically they stopped turning the ball over, and they got healthy. All right, George Kittle wasn't healthy for a few weeks. Deebo Samuel obviously missed the game. Trey Warner Jr. missed the game. But they were just making boneheaded mistakes, man. I mean, you think about losing to Colt McCoy in the Arizona Cardinals, where they just came out flat. And that was the story of the season, really, up until the Rams game on Monday Night Football. They were just getting up to slow starts. They're hanging around bad teams. They're losing to Chicago at the half, losing to, barely hanging on, beating the Eagles, losing to Seattle. It was just it was a mess. If it wasn't special teams, it was defensive lapses. If it wasn't defensive lapses, it was bad Jimmy plays. And it was just that Monday night game against the LA Rams where they just kind of went back to their identity. So, you know what? We're going to play smash mouth football. And they started playing smash mouth football that week against the LA Rams. They started playing it against the Seahawks again. And they've gone on this run here to where the formula they had in 2019 is starting to resemble itself. So I'm not saying they're going on a Super Bowl run or whatnot, but look, they're not turning the ball over. They overcome adversity, especially after last week. They fumbled the opening kickoff and thinking, here we go again. But they overcame that with strong, complementary football, solid defense. So we'll see how good they are. This is a tough test for them. The Falcons is one team. They're terrible, all right? I'm just saying right now, Falcons stink, all right? They're terrible. Matt Ryan's cooked. We'll see how serious the 49ers are in January by playing this game tomorrow night or Thursday night because the Titans, that's a tough team.
Let me ask about a Nashvilleian. So Juwan Jennings, who we watched play at UT, I've really seen him kind of emerge a little bit here lately. What's been his role of late in this offense?
You know what? I don't know if Mohamed Sanu has emails on Kyle Shanahan or what, but he kept playing Mohamed Sanu for some reason. Everybody here is like, why are you playing Mohamed Sanu? He's done. He's your third wide receiver. Why not play Juwan Jennings, who made a big play against the Eagles when the Niners went up at halftime? He scored that touchdown, caught a great pass in traffic. This kid, man, let me tell you, he's now emerging as a third down receiver, kind of replacing Kendrick Bourne, who's moved on to New England. He is tough. He's physical. He's not afraid to scrap with other DBs. He gets into it. His run blocking is really, really good, and he makes critical plays. He had a good touchdown catch, critical catch right before halftime against Minnesota a few weeks back in a had-to-have game. You see him make plays last week. To watch things as a player, and we just wonder, like Kyle Shanahan has this weird affinity to throw people into the doghouse for whatever reason. I don't know. Brandon Ayuk was in the doghouse. He said he wasn't practicing hard enough. Okay, whatever. So he wasted snaps on Mohamed Sanu. Same thing happened with Jennings. For some reason, he couldn't get on the field. All of a sudden, you see him get on the field, and all he does is make plays, and it makes you scratch your head on why he wasn't on the field a lot more often earlier in the season. But I like this kid, man. He's a tough player. He's physical. He plays the right way. I like Javon Jennings a lot.
And the other one is Nashvilleian. Yes, Monte, I said it. Nashvilleian George Kittle, who lives here in the offseason. His family is here. George Kittle. He's been, man, boy, he looks like the George Kittle of old, doesn't he? Especially the last 3 weeks.
He sure does. I mean, George Kittle, you think about the last 3 weeks, all right? Last week he has 6 catches for 90 yards, right? The week before against Cincinnati, he has double-digit targets, 13 targets. And then against Seattle, he lights them up. George Kittle is playing like the best tight end of football. And we've been waiting on this. You could say you're the best tight end of football, or people could claim you to be the best tight end of football. But until you produce in the passing game, look, he doesn't get paid nearly $20 million a season to just be a run blocker. That's all good and that's all fine and dandy, right? To crush people on the edge in a run game. But I need George Kittle to be an impact wide receiver. And when you look around the league at, Travis Kelce, obviously, and Darren Waller with the Raiders, Jody Smith, who you guys had going up to New England, Hunter Henry's now making plays for the Patriots. George Kittle's now making plays in the pass game again. And I think it's a great job by Kyle Shanahan to say, you know what? I'm going to diagram these plays. I'm going to make sure George Kittle sees at least 11 to 12 to 13, 14 targets a game. Because when he gets the ball in his hands, there are certain players who just set a physical tone, right? You guys see it all the time with Derrick Henry. When he sets the physical tone, it's contagious. It trickles out to the rest of the team, and all of a sudden it's a snowball effect to where everybody's balling out because the leader of your team is balling. Well, that's the same thing with George Kittle. When he gets the ball in his hands and he refuses to go down, and he's getting smacked by 4 or 5 defenders, and he still refuses to go down, those are tone setters. This guy breaks tackles. DBs don't want to tackle him one-on-one. Linebackers can't stay with him. So it's been very important for the 49ers to get him involved, and he's been involved over these last 3 weeks, and it's a welcome sight.
Talking to Bonte Hill from the Morning Roast 95.7 out in San Fran in the Bay Area, previewing the 49ers-Titans game on Thursday. I want to ask you about Deebo Samuel. I've seen flickers before. I can remember picking him up as a late pickup the last couple years in fantasy. He got hot there, but he's put it all together this year, that little hybrid move that they're doing as they use him as a runner. Where did that come from? Take us through the evolution of that.
Well, you saw it a little bit in 2019 where they started running jet sweeps with him, right? He's lined up out wide. He motions. As soon as the quarterback hikes the ball, quick little pivot, handoff to the wide receiver. And he really started cooking with that because Deebo Samuel, once you see him Thursday night, you guys are going to see his lower body's so thick. He's so strong down low. And he's a guy who likes to break a lot of tackles. And last year they started implementing more of those jet sweeps. And they didn't really have him in backfield as much as they had this year, but they started giving him the ball in running situations to just get the ball in his hands because he's such a playmaker. And he finishes runs like a running back. He loves to lower his shoulder. He loves to try to inflict punishment. And sometimes you're thinking, man, Deebo, just go out of bounds, man. Preserve, on to the next play. But these guys want to inflict punishment. That's the problem with George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, why they're always hurt, because they're looking to punish somebody. But this year, Shanahan has taken it to another level because, one, Elijah Mitchell, the rookie running back, 6th-round draft pick, has been banged up all season. Now, he's had a fine rookie season, but they even did a running back. Jeff Wilson Jr. coming off a torn ACL injury. He's been out for most of the season. Trey Sermon, who they spent a 3rd-round pick on, he just hasn't picked up the offense at all, so they've moved on from him. So Shanahan has thought, man, I need some juice in the backfield. I need a guy who can really run between the tackles, can really run hard, and Deebo Samuel has been that guy, and it's been a revelation for this offense. And when you think about it, think Percy Harvin. You know, how Minnesota used Percy Harvin, how Seattle used Percy Harvin when he came out of Florida. He's in that same mode. And so you're starting to see other teams do it here. But really, the Niners are running out of running backs. They had no options. So it's kind of an accident that Deebo Samuel has been in the backfield so much because no running. One, Trey Sermon didn't step up, and then the other running backs were just banged up.
6.9 yards per carry for Samuel. Let me ask you this, Vontae. That plot ever since the day that they drafted Trey Lance, people were wondering about how Jimmy Garoppolo would react. How would you evaluate his performance? His numbers look pretty darn good.
I've had a love-hate relationship with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was Team Jimmy, even when they passed up Tom Brady. They said, you got to keep Jimmy. I never wanted Kirk Cousins. I wanted Jimmy. But then they draft Trey Lance, right? And my thought process was this. If Kyle Shanahan doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, then move on and get your quarterback. Move on. Because I watched this same regime pass up Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes for Solomon Thomas and take C.J. Beathard in the third round. And I'm thinking to myself, man, what are you doing here? Go get a quarterback. You can't win this league without a quarterback. You guys know that. So Trey Lance gets drafted. I'm telling you, I'll go down to training camp, and Trey Lance looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal. I know it's just practice, but he just looked phenomenal. The players around him reacted differently, and he gave the 49ers that deep threat ability, that a guy who could stretch the field. Jimmy's the same guy. He's going to hit the 10 to 12-yard passes. He's going to dump it off. But the biggest thing with Jimmy is he's healthy, and he's not making mistakes. And for whatever reason, when Jimmy's in this lineup, the 49ers win a lot more games than they lose. The guy's like something like 30-7 now as a starter. All right, and he's starting to get in the rhythm. Him and Kyle Shanahan are in locksmith. I thought the growing-up game against Cincinnati, going 6 for 6 in overtime, to steal that game in Cincinnati. And you got to give Jimmy credit for this, fellas. He's been a professional. All right, you see a guy drafted as your replacement, and about 65-70% of this fan base wants Jimmy out of here. They're tired of Jimmy. Hell, he gets blamed for Super Bowl 54, which is so unfair. It's beyond being unfair. But Jimmy has been the total pro this season. He's got this team in the right offense. His teammates rally around him. They love Jimmy. He's a great locker room guy. So, look, man, he's got experience playing in big games. You can't scoff at 2019 when the Niners had a 3-game stretch where they had to play the Packers, Ravens, and Saints. They came out of that stretch at 2-1. They go down the stretch and they win Seattle in Week 17 in Seattle to get home field advantage. You can't scoff at a game like that from Jimmy G when he went 18 for 22 for 285 in that ball game. And the Niners hadn't won in Seattle since 2011. Jimmy Garoppolo has won a lot of big games for this organization. And I just got to say his performance, look, the numbers, are they eye-popping? They're okay. They're fine. But the professional he's been, despite everybody wanting him replaced, despite all the trade rumors, despite a Mike Florio report from Pro Football talk about Jimmy is scared and Shanahan wants to trade him and yada, 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 yada. Jimmy's been just fine, man. He's played his best football here over the last 5 weeks.
Talking to Bonte Hill. Okay, so what needs to happen in the, down the stretch? Obviously, let's assume they make the postseason. What does he need to do to maybe get people to think, all right, well, it wouldn't be bad for Trey Lance to maybe sit another year, because John Lynch and Shanahan, they're obviously cut from the old school cloth. Kyle saw what his dad did as a coach in the league. Is there some thought there, or is it a foregone conclusion that after this year, no matter what happens, Trey Lance is a starting quarterback?
The owner came out, Jed York, right after the draft and said, we're going to have no problem sitting Trey Lance for 2 years. And I'm thinking that's crap, because Jimmy Garoppolo's making $26 million a year. Now, if you hear talking to certain people around the organization, if Jimmy was to come back, he'd have to take a massive pay cut. He's not coming back here, at $26 million, $27 million a season. It's not happening. So would he be willing to take a massive pay cut? Now, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you're saying, look, you guys have played games with me all this time. You flirted with every quarterback in the world. You've flirted with quarterbacks probably in the AFL. They try to replace me. No, I'm not taking a pay cut. So then you ask yourself, okay, what does Jimmy have to do to reclaim the starting job next season? One, he'd have to take the pay cut and compete for the starting job. It's not happening. But for the fan base to really believe in Jimmy's, accept him being back and having Trey Lance sit another year, he'd have to win the Super Bowl. Point blank, period. He'd have to win the Super Bowl. Nothing short of winning the Super Bowl could possibly make people kind of flip over and change their opinions on Jimmy Garoppolo. It just wouldn't happen. And you think about Trey Lance. He hasn't played football in nearly 2 seasons. All right, he played one little scrimmage last year during the pandemic season in college football, and that's it. And then you have him sitting this year. and you would possibly have him sitting next year, I don't see how he gets better in today's day and age by sitting all that time. He needs to play. He needs the reps. He needs to play. And I think the locker room overall understand that this is a business. And at $26 million a year, is Jimmy that much better than Trey Lance? Like, the way we think about it out here is, where would the Niners record be if Trey Lance was the starting quarterback? 7-7, 6-8, because they run the football a lot, and there's a lot of short, deep and dunk passes. So I find it really hard to believe that Jimmy's going to be back at quarterback next season. Now, if he wins the Super Bowl, man, it makes for some great content out here in the Bay Area, that's for sure. And all of a sudden, you're pulling to Philadelphia, where you're possibly moving on from Nick Foles to go to Carson Wentz. And next thing you know, 2 years later, Carson Wentz is in Indianapolis, and Nick Foles is a backup somewhere. So it would take a lot for Jimmy back.
Okay, well, let me add more content. What if a certain quarterback that's playing in Wisconsin and a Northern California native is all of a sudden available? Does that change anything, or is it still they've moved on?
Dude, I don't think they moved on. I think they would look for suitors for Trey Lance, honestly. When that report came out this past on draft day, right before the 2021 NFL draft, I was on there saying, you know what? Make the move for Aaron Rodgers, even if he's only playing for 4 years. Make the move. Get the proven quarterback. You never know what's up Shanahan's sleeve. I do think they want to develop Trey Lance. He's on that rookie contract. You got some wide receivers who are young and active, and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. You still have George Kittle there. They think about it. I just don't think it'll happen because they'd have to pay. Think about what they're paying Jimmy Garoppolo. Think about what you have to pay Aaron Rodgers. He's going to want $40 million a year, and you're going to have to try to find a suitor for Trey Lance. And are you going to get a first-round pick for Trey Lance? That's a lot of draft compensation they gave up for Trey Lance in the first place. I think that ship has sailed. I think it's sailed. I think they think about it. They do their due diligence, but I think that ship has sailed.
Gives you something to talk about for sure. Bonte, appreciate the time. It's good to talk to you again.
Absolutely, man. It should be a monster game Thursday night. Titans-Niners, we've been looking forward to it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We're not mad at the fact that Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry probably won't play. We're not going to complain about that out here.
No. Well, A.J. Brown, we'll see.
I think there's a chance.
There's a chance for A.J.?
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
Well, we got to watch Josh Norman play quarterback every week, so take it easy on us. Tell A.J. Brown to sit it out, man. The AFC South is wrapped up. Doesn't need to play this Thursday. Get an extra week of rest. Let's chill.
Appreciate it, Bonte. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Bonte held 95-7 the game in San Francisco. Titans 49ers coming up Thursday.
Fun.
Yeah, he's always fun. Personality, which you got to have that. Sports radio. So always fun.
Would that not be scary if Aaron went to San Fran?
It would be.
Imagine.
It would be. I mean, with the pieces they have.
Right.
Because, listen, we didn't really ask him about it. Ayuk, I think, is a pretty good little receiver. I liked him out of Arizona State, too. So he's starting to come into his own. You put him
with Kittle?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they got Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle.
That defense?
Ooh. With Shanahan?
Because,
I mean, he knows that offense. Shanahan and
the
offense he's in, very similar.
Scary.
I think he's right, though. I mean, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, probably so. I don't even know how you make it work. I mean, you'd have to dump Garoppolo. You'd probably have to have Lance in the deal.
Well, Garoppolo's easy. Garoppolo's easy to get out of.
Is easy to get out after this year?
It's according to SpotRack, 1.4 million dead cap.
Oh, okay.
So that's easy.
So you move on from him. I guess Lance would have to be a part of the deal. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know their cap situation and what things they would have to do, but doesn't matter, man. You're getting the proven. You're getting the proven guy. They're proven commodity that we already said. You don't have to be perfect. Those guys, you don't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to fall into place. Those guys make everybody better. So.
Yeah, I mean, you look at your hand and you really, really like it, you go all in. That's what you do.
Yep. Wow. Looks like there's some news on the Olympic front when it comes to the NHL players. Also, Mike Vrabel has spoken about this game on Thursday night, so we'll get to all that stuff on the other side. But first, you've got a word about BetMGM.
I sure do. In the 7 days of parlays, BetMGM is celebrating the holidays by delivering parlay presents to you every day for a week. From December 19th to December 25th, BetMGM customers can unwrap free bets and risk-free wagers when they place a one-game parlay. Plus, there are plenty of parlay, boost tokens, and other bonuses under the tree. If you're a sports fan, you're automatically on the nice list at the King of Sportsbooks. Not yet registered for BetMGM? All you need to do is sign up on the BetMGM app or go to BetMGM.com to enjoy a piece of holiday action. Get in the holiday spirit with 7 days of parlays at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Breaking news. The Nashville Predators have had their next 3 games postponed due to COVID and will be shut down at least through the end of the NHL's holiday break on December 26th. Keep it locked here for the latest from Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Are you worried about your holiday shopping and your gift arriving in time? The Omni Nashville Hotel has a great idea for you. How about gift cards to the world-renowned Mocara Spa or Nashville's fine dining favorite, Bob's Steak and Chop House? Surprise your loved ones and friends with this special gift idea and take out the hustle and bustle of fighting traffic and long lines this holiday season. Simply go to OmniNashvilleHotel.com to purchase your gift cards. That's OmniNashvilleHotel.com for gift cards to Mocara Spa or Bob's Steak and Chop House.
This holiday season at Genesis Diamonds, a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Hi, I'm Charlie Rivers, and I have been a Rolex expert for a very long time.
Nashville's Charlie Rivers invites you to see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces in Tennessee.
I have never seen so many luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in one spot.
Genesis has Sea Dwellers, Datejusts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, Air Kings, hand-selected premium timepieces in pristine condition. Watches you can't find anywhere else for men and women.
I'm so excited that I can finally give my customers what they want.
And at Genesis, there are no wait lists and no minimum spend requirements. Nothing stands in the way of you and your dream timepiece.
Come say hi, and I will help you find the perfect luxury pre-owned Rolex you've been dreaming of.
Come reward yourself or someone you love this Christmas with a luxury pre-owned Rolex. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Over the middle, has a man, touchdown Tennessee, Devontae Payton.
The Tennessee Volunteers are coming to Nashville on December 30th to face Purdue in the 2021 Music City Bowl. Your official home for the TransPerfect Music City Bowl is ESPN 102.5 The Game and 93.3 Classic Hits. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Music City and Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Thanks, Jordan. Hey, you should go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. This week, a new deal is Downtown Dollars, $150 digital gift card for $100. The gift card is redeemable at hundreds of downtown Nashville shops, restaurants, and more. With Downtown Dollars, you can get more to spend at the old favorite, and or discover one of the new destinations in downtown. You know, there's new things cropping up all the time downtown. Check out Nashville's best deals at theGameNashville.com/deals. Good stuff there from Monte Hill. Learning about this 49ers team. Speaking of that, Nate on Twitter.
I was just about to read that.
Tweets at us and says, lock this pick. This is his lock. Juwan Jennings, anytime touchdown, Thursday. I don't think that's crazy. We know he's played high school in Rutherford County.
Yep.
Played for the Vols.
I interviewed him on that field.
Really?
After the Music City Bowl. Mm-hmm. When he was here with the Vols.
Very nice. Said it'll be his first touchdown in the NFL at home.
Let's see. I doubt they have well, they might have those up. Let's see. No, they don't.
I'm with Nate. I think that's actually a smart
I wanted
play.
to see the odds on it.
Yeah, I wonder what it is.
Yeah, they don't have on BetMGM. They don't have them up yet.
Okay, probably tomorrow, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll keep close tabs on that. Nate, we don't disagree. It looks like it is official out there. It's not. To think that this wasn't going to happen. I mean, come on. I get it. They wanted to go, but just circumstances have changed.
They can't.
But the NHL has pulled out of the Olympics in Beijing, so no surprise there. But it's just now official. I've been basically trying to soften the blow since last week, trying to get everybody prepared because I knew it was going to happen. It just had to. Unfortunately, it did. Now they're going to have to use some of that time frame. Not all of it, but I don't know what you need to make up the games. Easier. Yeah, you're going to need to use that window. They're still going to give them time off. They are prepared to have 3 weeks off. They're not going to get 3 weeks off now, but they'll get some time off, and then they'll have to use the rest of the window to try to make up these games. I mean, currently, right now, the Predators have 5 games to make up. 5. That's not leading the league. There are teams that have more to make up. So there's a lot of games to make up, and you don't want to shorten the season, do you, players?
No.
You want those checks, don't you? And you don't want to be slapping that at the end, because already they go to the end of April. You don't want to be going into half of May before you start your playoffs, right? No. Definitely don't want that. So be curious to see. By the way, Ryan Tannehill said he is hopeful A.J. Brown can return. So, I don't know.
I think he's playing.
I agree. It looks like all signs are pointing towards him returning Thursday. I don't think there's any doubt about that. By the way, per our discussion to end the last hour, a former player on offense who played in the NFL for a long time was listening to our discussion. His words, Tom Brady, this team would have 2 more wins with Tom Brady. Same roster.
I agree with that, and I agreed with him.
I'm not the messenger. I'm just the messenger.
No, I know. Actually, I was the messenger.
You're the messenger. But that's what was said. I'm saying it's not my words.
No. I said to him, I think they beat Pittsburgh this weekend because – and then what's funny is that the discussion spilled off air. Ryan and I were talking about it, and he made a good point. Brady doesn't fumble the snap. That's something he doesn't do. So Brady doesn't fumble the snap. And, if some of the other turnovers You never know how that would go. But I think he holds on. He beats Pittsburgh, and then either the Jets or the Texans, one of those other games that they lose. But I still, and the reason I brought it up is I've had this question in my mind for a couple of days, is I still think there's, there would have been struggles without a solid supporting cast like he has in Tampa. Even with some of those players out in Tampa, is still better than what they have here. I mean, Antonio Brown is about to probably – I was listening this morning. Antonio Brown's probably about to try and get another payday.
What do you mean by that?
Well, in his mind, he probably thinks, oh, cool, I'll ball out the rest of the year and then parlay that into another contract.
Sure.
Which he might.
He's thinking that. Yeah. Why wouldn't he? He's been very successful this year. What small windows he's been on the field. He's been highly successful. Why wouldn't that continue? I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't.
But, I mean, you got Brown, you got Gronk.
We'll see what the injury is to Evans. I mean, it's concussion, right?
I believe so. And then Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, Fournette's what was Fournette's injury? Was it concussion too? I don't remember what he did. No, hamstring. I think Fournette was hamstring. I think it was hammy. Yep. All right, let's hear Mike Vrabel just spoke to the media in preparation for their game Thursday night against the 49ers. Let's find out what the head coach had to say.
Mike, what's the biggest challenge? 3 games left and trying to control your destiny at this point.
Yeah, we haven't been caught up in how many games we have left. We kind of just keep preparing for the next opponent. That's been our mindset. It's been my mindset as a coach. Hopefully something we focus on today on how we can just improve and things that we can do to help our team today.
You have those players who are activated to get to practice after being on injured reserve. Yep. What do you pay attention to during the week? What do you watch?
Well, I think this week's going to be a little bit different. Is that kind of what you're kind of alluding to? It's a little different week.
Those guys, what are you looking for to see if they're ready to go?
Yeah. Okay. I think on a normal week, it's you get an opportunity to go out there and either rush the passer. You can set up pass rush drills. You can set up 7-on-7. They can go out there and they can practice, right? And then this week I think is a little bit unique. So for some of those guys, we'll probably may have to manufacture some of the stuff to get them some speed, but. Really like where we're at with Todd and Frank and their staff, and Brian Bell really does a lot of that work as far as the return to play coming out of the weight room. So that's always something that we've really taken a lot of pride in, and like I always mention, unfortunately, we've gotten pretty good at it.
Back in the flow of things, and what can you see from him on a short week that would convince you he's okay to play?
Well, some of those, he'll have to go out there, and he's been working with the trainers and the strength staff and, looking at conditioning and obviously the, updates and how he responds to the work that he's done. So, he'll be with us in the jog through capacity today. And then I'm sure he'll do some stuff, a little bit faster.
What's going on with COVID and all right now? Do you approach that like as a coaching point where you say, hey, look, if we do this better than other teams, it can give us a competitive advantage potentially?
Yeah, I think our first emphasis is always just trying to make sure that everybody's safe and staying as healthy as we can and taking care of our families and our team. And but I think that's certainly realistic to look at it that way. The more people that you can have available, it probably gives you a better chance.
Coach, I don't know how much you know about specifically, but the targeting when it comes to the testing, could that at all give a disadvantage to a team if they targeted testing your quarterback and not the other quarterback? I don't know the specifics exactly of that, but maybe you do.
From what I can understand, I think that there's, it's a pretty random deal. No different than they would the PED testing. Anybody that's in a tier 1 or tier 2 player or staff kind of gets thrown in, and then they pull out a probably hopefully random generated number, test based on symptoms and everything else.
I know each turnover kind of has its own story, so to speak, but is there like a common theme in the fumbles, a common theme in the interceptions? that you're seeing, over the last 4 weeks?
Just, sometimes poor ball security. Quarterback center exchange. It gets kicked. The quarterback's going to pick it up. It gets kicked. The ball, the ball, I told the team the ball's not round. We don't know which way it's going to bounce. We got to do everything we can to take care of it. Sometimes they make a good play. Sometimes, it's our own doing.
Guys maybe sometimes are trying to press, trying to do too much. I know you're big on telling guys just to do their job. Or do you find that guys maybe sometimes are trying to do too much in those situations?
Like gain yards? I'm not sure what you're talking about. That
just trying to make a play and
ask me which one you're talking about and I'll explain it because I can go through them and Ferkser catches a pass on third down, drop steps, ball's loose, they knock it out. Racey's coming around trying to get a catch and run. He's on top of the guy. Ryan and Ben are always trying to make a play. The ball went on the ground. So we can keep going. I don't know if that's making a play or not. Just poor ball security.
You guys have been talking a lot about the defense outplaying the opposing defense. How did that kind of come to be a theme? And are you telling the offense the same thing? The offense has to outplay the other offense?
Which one do you want me to answer first?
Both, please. How did the defensive thing come to be a theme?
I don't, because that's the way I would explained it and try to, focus that week. And when I think that it'd be a challenge for our defense. It's something that you probably want to do all the time. I think it's just a mentality, and I appreciate where our mentality is right now defensively. To go out there and stop them wherever the ball is. That's just kind of what you have to do, and I think that's the hallmark of the best defenses is they can go out there. They hop up off the bench. It sucks. It sucks when you turn the ball over. I've been out there as a player and watching it as a coach, and our guys didn't flinch. They ran out there. Hopefully they don't have to do that, and hopefully we can find a way to get some turnovers ourselves.
Is the offensive mentality the same? Or
the offensive mentality is to score as many points as we can and try to take care of the football.
What made the Niners' run game so efficient no matter who they're plugging in there?
It's a really good scheme. I think that the offensive line does a great, fantastic job. They're well coached. I think that their tight ends block well. They're very sudden players. Juszczyk is a sudden player who can work his way one way, come back the other way, is willing to block. He acts as a runner, like he has the football, and so he's kind of finding the hole. They mix in Samuel, Mitchell, Wilson. Good scheme. They attack you at all different levels, zone, gap scheme, misdirection. So they do a fantastic job.
How big of an asset is Deebo Samuel for all the different ways that they do use him?
He's a very physical player who's a strong runner once he has the football in his hand, and Kyle and his staff do a fantastic job of creating those and getting him the football.
Buffalo's success has been a part of the reason they've won 5 out of 6.
Well, he's taking care of the football. He's been accurate. Seems to be in command of everything that they're doing, and he's playing well. He's got a very good completion percentage, and they're number 1 in the red zone.
Fred Warner, what jumps out to you about him in the middle of their defense?
It's tough to trick guys like that. It's tough. He's really seen a lot, and it's tough to trick him. He's rarely out of place. Is a sure tackler. He's a good blitzer. They put him, involve him in third down. Very versatile player, and he can run.
With David, I guess David Long missed a number of weeks and hasn't gone IR. Is there advantage to keeping him on the 53, or how does that?
No, I just, kind of you get down the road where you think that not putting a timeline on any injury, you're not really sure, So, we've been able to, manage the roster, without having to put him on an injury reserve.
6 weeks is a significant marker for the kind of surgery that Derek had. Has he transitioned into a different sort of stage now?
still just rehabbing.
Like you mentioned, you're going to see AJ out here and see where he's at. Where's your feel on, at this point, of your optimism for Thursday?
I mean, I'm optimistic on all these guys that, enter into the return to play. Now see how they respond to what we ask them to do. It's a difference to go out there and practice as it is to go out there and, be in the game. But, using, Bud as an example last week, he had a good week of practice and I think built confidence and, was able to help us on Sunday.
He respond after the game and, your work you
good.
did yesterday.
I mean, he was excited and, he was into it and helped us on Sunday. Now, we'll have to new challenge this week, new opponent.
How did Julio feel yesterday, and is he kind of in the same spot as those guys returning to play, or where would you put him right now?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how he does in practice and, what he's able to do, and we'll probably take it down to game time.
Has there been a secret to the success of being able to get guys in here on the fly, like Cunningham last week and like Foreman and Hilliard a few weeks ago, screen and getting those guys up to speed quickly and they're able to make big contributions?
Well, I mean, I think it helps to have guys that are, willing and hungry. Deontay, Dontrell, and Buster were out of work. So it's called survival. They've tasted and they wanted to be active. They didn't have a job. So now that they've got one, they're not in a real big hurry to give it up. But they worked extremely hard. The coach, give the coaches credit, but obviously it's on the player to go out there and be able to translate all those meetings and the walkthroughs and the things that we do to get them ready, to translate it to the game.
Do we have much pace today, or is it pretty much a walk week?
There won't be much pace.
Very consistent. I did it again today, talking about how family safety is important with the COVID. Is this new policy, is that as effective, protecting family, protecting people outside than the previous?
Oh, I don't know if the any policy is going to protect us or our families. That's not for me to decide. I think the decisions that we make personally and as a family would be what would protect everybody. That's always been our focus and trying to do the best job. There's a speed limit, but that doesn't protect anybody from accidents. So, I think driving the speed limit and being cautious protects you. I don't know. It's something everybody's dealing with. You guys are dealing with the same thing. We've had not everybody here, but people here affected and have had it. So we just worry about those and family members and the players, and everybody seems to be reporting symptoms when they have them, and we test and we go through the protocols just like we're supposed to.
With a guy like George Kittle, difficult guy to get down. How do you get him down?
It just you swarm. I used the other day as an example. We had 3 missed tackles on one play on defense, and they gained a yard. Guys were running, and so you don't love the 3 missed tackles, but you love the swarm in which guys were running. So we're going to need to get as many people to the football as possible. He's very good with the football. He's an excellent player. Speed, catch radius. He's a very good player.
Anything unique about when Shanahan 49ers zone scheme and maybe how you try to defend that on a short week, them running the ball?
Stopping the run comes down to the same thing every week. Set the edge, build a wall, and swarm.
There you go, Titans head coach Mike Vrabel talking to the media here on this Tuesday before Thursday night's game at Nissan Stadium against the 49ers. That press conference sponsored by Tire Man. Tire Man for all your company tire needs, construction equipment, or fleet maintenance. You can call them at 615-663-6040. We'll come back and talk about some things we just heard there to wrap up Tuesday's show. But first I'm going to talk to you about DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And they've got a gift for you right now that'll get you in the holiday spirit. New customers can bet just $5 of their own on any NBA team, and you can win $150 in free bets if they win. Yeah, that's right. That's all you have to do. $5 on any NBA team, and if they win, you win $150 in free bets. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get in on the Christmas spirit with the holiday free bet surprise. Everyone will get a free bet up to $50 instantly, as DraftKings gives away up to $10 million in prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use that code 1025GAME and bet just $5 of your money on any NBA team. And if they win, you win $150 in free bets. That's how it works. Use that code again, 1025GAME, this Christmas week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Breaking news. The Nashville Predators have had their next 3 games postponed due to COVID and will be shut down at least through the end of the NHL's holiday break on December 26th. Keep it locked here for the latest from Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. A little bit warmer for us this morning. Temperatures in the 30s on our way to highs in the upper 40s and lower 50s under mostly cloudy skies with a couple isolated sprinkles possible.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
You already know the best burger place in town is Joyland in East Nashville. Now it's your chance to work for them. Joyland is looking for cooks to join their incredible team as soon as possible. Joyland offers employee benefits like insurance, HSA, FSA plans, short-term disability, $1,000 baby bonus for anyone that is expecting or adopting, paid time off, travel discounts, $350 bonus after 60 days, and more. Email info@eatjoyland.com to apply now. Joyland is an equal opportunity employer.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Donick, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end.
Close, but not yet, Jim. We were at Gallatin on Friday at Newton Nissan. Newton Motor Group and UFS at ESPN 102.5 The Game have teamed up this holiday season with Souls for Souls to help children in Middle Tennessee with Souls for Music City. Souls for Souls works with our schools and our community partners to deliver new shoes to kids who need them the most. Newton Motor Group will be making a donation to Souls for Souls for every test drive at any of their 4 locations. They have the one in Gallatin we were at on Friday and 3 in Shelbyville. And so to help us achieve the goal of getting shoes for 100 kids in Nashville experiencing homelessness, just go do a test drive. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you've got to the end of the month, go do a test drive at any of the Newton Motor Groups. Like I said, they got 4 locations, 3 in Shelbyville and 1 in Gallatin. And they will make a donation every time a test drive happens. For more information or to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Speaking of, where will we be tomorrow?
We are going to be at Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Not a bad place to hang for 4 hours tomorrow.
I was just telling Elijah, because we got to talking about Nick Saban, and so I was just telling Elijah about, I think it was the grand opening of Mercedes-Benz of Music City, and I was there, and Nick Saban was doing an event, and he he did like a media session, so it was me, Mike Organ, a couple of the TV stations, and was very it was very laid back, very low key. It was in the off season, and after he was done, he walked up to each person and shook their hand and thanked them for being there. And I said, because I had told Floyd that I was going to do that, and he said, well, tell Nick that I said hi and to tell Miss Terry hi. And so I passed on the message, and I said, yeah, Floyd's told me some fun stories about you guys back in the day. And he laughs and he goes, yeah, but I bet he hasn't told you all of them. I got some good ones. And he laughed and he walked off. So that was I've been in there a couple times since then, but that was the first time at Mercedes-Benz Music City.
Well, there's no doubt D-Mace and I would talk to him. We had several conversations with him down at SEC Media Days, as you know, down in Hoover, and he was gracious enough to come over and sit down at our table and do interviews with us. We couldn't get Tennessee's football coach on, but gosh, we got the biggest name in college football to come over there and sit down at our table and talk to us. But I brought up that dealership, of course, in Nashville, and of course they come to Nashville a lot, and what it means to him and how much his father, right, how much his father meant to him. And I know a lot of what they do there. He talked a lot about things that he's dedicated to his dad at that Mercedes dealership.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a big reason why he's involved. So
That's right.
But it's funny. Like Elijah, when I was telling him about that, he's like wow. Like he seemed like laid back, and he can be, he's an intense coach. And, when it comes to business, he's all business. But I mean, if you've watched Eli's Places on ESPN Plus, I mean, his guard's down, and he's a normal guy, and he's out on the boat and having a good time. So,
speaking of, should we be worried? It seemed like head coach was in a pretty tolerable mood today, not irritable at all. Seemed like he had some patience.
I wouldn't
today.
say not irritable at all.
No.
I tweeted this, but I told Elijah too. Like on the Derrick Henry that when he was asked about Derrick Henry, I could tell he was a little irritated.
What? But you're not going to. I mean, what do you expect? He's not going to tell you anything.
I know, but
if you ask that question, you're going to get nothing.
Correct. He would prefer that you not ask the question.
Okay.
And so I said I'm waiting for the day, because they teach you in school, don't ask yes or no questions. I'm waiting for the day that he gets asked an open-ended question and he just goes, nope, and that's all he says. Like I would lose it if he did that. Like I'm waiting for that. So I wouldn't say he wasn't irritable. He was maybe a little more tolerable than he has been.
Okay. Chiefs have put Tyreek Hill on their COVID list.
Kelsey's on there too, right?
He is.
That's not good.
Not good. A little outbreak with the Chiefs right now. That'll do it for our show today. You have a great rest of your Tuesday. Continue to be safe. We want you back with us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Stay tuned. Stillman and Company is next.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a